All right. Welcome to the Positivity 120 minutes about OCR and hybrid. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing
Great. Lots of
fantastic.
positive word.
Everybody's great. First thing, let's go around and say what we're grateful for. No, I'm just kidding. So we got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to do some Hyrox, big event in England over the weekend. We'll do some battle bunker stuff and some DEKA things. There's not a lot of OCR specific stuff happening in these next couple weeks. Big Bear's our next event, right, Jack? The next real thing that we have. When's the next Savage?
That same weekend, Maryland, I think.
Oh, okay. Nice. So we're in that hybrid space this week. So I guess where to start would be the Hyrox in the UK. Were you guys checking that out at all? First, actually, how much have you caught on to people from the UK being interested in Hyrox? Have you caught like the culture of it much yet? Like, what's your takeaway about how it's doing over there?
Well, I coach a couple from the UK, and they've gotten to their first few Hyrox this year, and they seem to love it a lot. In the UK, so this is a very limited scope that I have, but through this couple's eyes, he's an ex-football player.
What kind of football
player?
Yeah.
Football
with your feet.
Yeah.
Football. Yeah.
Not the old
Football.
pigskin.
Not football americano. So you see that was Spanish with an Italian accent?
Well, talking
That was
about
not
the UK.
bad. That was pretty good. Just toss
But
it
so
in
a
there.
lot of the guys over there seem to enter the sport not with a running background. And Hyrox is kind of cool for that. So it seems like they're kind of pumped about it to like start branching out. But this is more through like the age group eyes.
Isn't that
I have-
Michael Sandbach? He doesn't have a running background. He was soccer also or football.
Football.
I have 3 UK OCR athletes and none. Don't you guys feel like with your athletes in the US, it's like they do OCR, a lot of them you picked up then, and then as soon as hybrid now is caught on, they're all like, I'm going to dabble, I'm going to try it. I haven't heard a thing out of my UK OCR athletes. None of them have even sniffed interest. But that's such a small subject study. Rich, you probably have the most hybrid Hyrox athletes. What's your take?
Those UK athletes freaking love it. And I can't quite grasp why. I think it's a little bit of like the access to other types of events, but this one resonates really well. I mean, the weather is really not great in the UK, so maybe an indoor event that they can prepare for all year. They had 7,000 people at this 2-day event. I mean, 7,000 total over the course of 2 days. So I'm sure it's a lot of repeat, like you did individuals and you did team or whatever. But that's a big event for Hyrox.
That's painful doing a double. This isn't like a Spartan beast on Saturday and then a sprint on Sunday. This is a nasty double.
Yeah, for sure.
What are typical attendance numbers? What's like if
That's
you gave one to
Spartan-esque
Chicago
right there.
or Dallas? What are we looking at?
The US, if it's like, I think the most that I've heard is around 4,000. And that's if it's like a sold out event here.
So that's monstrous.
So
We've only had what, 1 2-day event though?
We haven't had one yet. New York is
This
going to be
year
the
is
first.
going to be.
New York's the first 2-day event.
I don't think they're coming close to 4,000 most of the time though.
Not
Like
typically.
2.5 to 3, I think, is
Really?
pretty standard and good for them.
Mhm.
My take on the excitement of Hyrox is that it's geographically dependent. This is really unscientific, but the athletes I know and work with, the worse their winters are, the more they're into this hybrid off-season approach, which makes the Hyrox decision to try to stay opposite of OCR season genius. You got Colorado, Midwest, East Coast. Those are hubs for Hyrox. You get Texas as well. There's some athletes down there, but I think maybe that's more of Hyrox partnered down there early. But the UK, they have crappy winters. What are you just going to run through like freezing rain all winter? Or you can have an excuse to be in the gym and come out with really good strength and staying power and then hit the trails.
Makes sense. You look at other sports, like there's a reason hockey's popular in Canada. It's cold there. It's not too popular the farther south you get.
I think Hyrox will crush in Canada too.
They need to have
They
some.
need to do it.
That'd be awesome. I would take
They've
a
got
trip.
some athletes who I would love to give it a shot.
Mhm.
I know Jesse Bruce was down. He raced in Anaheim.
He's done a few.
Ago. Yeah.
That's his second, and he
Houston,
did
he did
much
the other
better.
one.
Yeah, he had a hard time in Houston on a sled pull. I think he took him like 7 or 8 minutes in Houston, but he was down to
Yeah.
like 5, I think. So he took 2 minutes off of just that one spot. I think it's like 63. this past
Everyone's
race.
first
Legit.
Hyrox is the wake up call, so I expect him to, keep chipping away a couple more. So he's got
Everyone-
a crazy engine.
Everyone in the U.S., it's a reality check.
Even guys like me who it's not like been on my radar, I've just had like one too many Minnesota winters where I'm like, screw getting out there and hating my life for 4 months straight. Like it's time to maybe change it up. And even like me, who hasn't really even taken it seriously into consideration, is like, you know what, maybe next winter I'm gonna do that too. So if I'm thinking it, how many other guys are thinking it, right?
I got hurt one winter and spent it all on the rower, and I was like, when I was in Philly, and I was cool with it. I was like, great, I will skip running this winter. That is not something I'm upset about.
You miss out on much.
Not much.
It cuts down a ton on the buy-in of getting into the workout. That winter, now I love winter running. I really do. But it's the daily hassle of, all right, what's the temperature? How many layers am I going with? Do I have it clean or dry from yesterday? Are my shoes dry? I've got to get dressed, but I also have to get to where I'm going. If you're not running out your door, then it's like, I'm going to be sweating in the car by the time I get there. And it's just like it's another layer or two of what you have to go through. Whereas the winter I spent Hyrox training, just wake up, walk down into the basement and start warming up and get to it. And that's kind of cool.
It's just stupid, but like when it gets warmer, like you save a little bit of time not putting on those layers. You're like, great. Like
laundry drops.
Not as much laundry.
The guessing game, like, oh, it looks nice here, but 5 miles away on the trails where it might be shaded and the snow hasn't melted. Like you've got completely different guessing games essentially going on for winter running outside.
And I love winter running. But
same here.
Hyrox is clean. It's simple.
You love winter running up to a certain point. Everybody does. That fluffy snow, it's 20 degrees and calm. Give me that's posh conditions. When the wind's whipping at 30 miles an hour from the north and it's negative 15 with the wind chill like it is every day, it's like, screw that.
I hate
thrower in the earth all day.
There's winter trail running and winter road running.
Yeah.
Winter road running sucks. Winter trail running just gets rid of the wind chill. It's just gone. It just can't fight through the trees that well.
And running
That's what I like.
Running on snow like absorbs the impact a little bit. You don't go as far. Like there've been a couple of runs I've done where it's like 4 miles in an hour, and I'm like, this was one of my favorite runs ever. I'm just trudging through the snow like a deer or something. It was super fun.
Do you know
deer are very fast?
Yeah, they're much
faster than that. I'm a slow deer.
Just trudging through like a cheetah.
They're not in snow last time I checked.
No, the other interesting demographic, now that we're talking about this, like who I've noted has been more interested in hybrid is like the older athletes. The ones who are like, yeah, I can't run as much as I would like to, or this is a good chance for me to stay really fit, but like get off my feet. Like the 40 somethings and like the lower 50 somethings, people just keep like flooding to it. Like, hey, I only got to run 3 days a week. My old bones can't hack running 40, 50 miles a week anymore. I feel like the biggest demographic that's switching over is like the older crowd. It's like a good opportunity not to hurt all the time from running so many miles.
Runners look at non-impact cardio as like a punishment or a cop-out.
Like a waste of
Hybrid
time.
gives you an excuse to pour yourself into those modalities. Like, this is race specific. I have to do it. And suddenly every run feels better because you're not beat up going into it. It's a second lease on your knees is what it is.
I agree. And just look at OCR. What do we always say the most competitive age groups are? It's like that 35 to 45, but it seems like you're just like Kirk alluded to, you're seeing a little bit older skew where instead of starting at like 35, I might start around 40. And I know that there's been a lot of just people talk. They're like, oh, well, you need to maintain strength. Don't just do cardio as you get older because you need to maintain some of that explosiveness just to keep your body working and stuff. It's hard to really do that when you get older. I'm not there yet, but I know a lot of people are in that situation. So I think that it's like the perfect storm for people maintaining fitness, not having to deal with the crappy weather, but also like keeping their body working.
And I think that this concept is something that people knew they wanted, but it just didn't exist for a long time. So when they are in their 40s and 50s, they're like, oh man, if I was younger, I would smash this thing. But they're like, let's see what I got now. This is something that I can really make it feel like it's being competitive again and really living those kind of glory days. Where OCR, it's harder to grasp if you haven't experienced it already.
OCR broke the doors down for hybrid, I think. OCR was visceral. It was like way outside the box of what people would normally try, and they just ate it up. But eventually the same complaints popped up. It was like constantly, oh, it's a runner's course. There's so much running. The obstacles are too easy. Hybrid is the first time there's been not that complaint. No one's ever got done and been like, oh, that was a runner's course. Like at most, it's 100 or 200 meters longer than it was the week before. It's the only form of, I would say it's still under OCR, under that giant umbrella, maybe World Multisport we're going to throw it under. But it's the only form where you cannot be good at running and be good at it.
Do you think? Go ahead, Kirk.
Well, I was saying, look at the old start lines of like Spartan of old, like in the elite wave, and it looks like a bunch of CrossFit athletes and bodybuilders at the start line, thinking they're gonna rip the heads off of the skinny dudes, and then they're like, what's the point? Like, this is a runner's race, and they finally have if they've stuck around and paid attention, like there's also that opportunity that's finally come around. You don't see people like that on the elite start lines anymore. They got to have an option, right? Mm-hmm. So hybrid fits the bill.
And that's true. And that's what I was thinking. Like, did OCR open the gates, or was for hybrid racing, or would it exist in the same capacity, even if just CrossFit existed before it? Like if hybrid came before OCR, right?
I mean, what you're saying.
Yeah. Where does hybrid skew? It's not the pure strength athletes. It's the people who like being a little bit strong, but also have a good engine, because otherwise they'd just be doing CrossFit. I don't think too many people who do OCR casually can snatch 250 or 300 or, would have been super high level CrossFitters just because of the weightlifting side, but they do enjoy getting out there and running, even if they're only, low 20-minute 5K people, but they can just put out on some of the machines and some of the zones and getting a burpee off at the end of DEKAFIT, for instance. Like, I think that's kind of the crowd that you're skewing to. And
I think Hyrox itself would have had some success without OCR first, but I think OCR was the gateway drug. I think if they had just been athletes and maybe into CrossFit, 8x1000 would have been a turnoff. But doing OCR first gave this fertile ground for Hyrox. People had already embraced trying to become better runners, and now I only have to do it for 1,000 at a time, and then I can do equal work in between. And it felt like a reduction in running rather than I have to learn how to run 8x1000. So I think it was the perfect order for Hyrox to succeed. And they came in as people started to get a little disenchanted with OCR. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, both sides had reasons to try it.
I got a hot positive take here.
Go. Floor's yours.
I think Hyrox or hybrid would have succeeded absolutely either way. In fact, I think when you think about the momentum CrossFit and the CrossFit Games, when was the first year of the CrossFit Games? You guys know better than I do.
07.
07, 08, somewhere when they're back at the ranch.
Yeah,
I thought people expect.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I thought it was 2009. Anyway,
but
maybe it was
point being is, I think everybody, once that got hold, and it really took hold, right? Like that picked up quick. Boxes were going up everywhere. People were buying in. And then people got involved and realized like they weren't quite strong enough to really hang with the elites. I think if that was marketed to the initial CrossFit crowd as like, hey, you skew endurance, like here's a series for you, I think it could have been even bigger. I think it coming first would have maybe helped even before OCR. I don't see how it went, because we were already familiar with that space. There's a lot of people like me who would go and get hammered by these super strong dudes and then be like, well, I guess I'm just going to be average because of my frame. Mm-hmm. And then we finally have our opportunity. So I actually think like either way it was going to succeed. In fact, I think it could be much bigger if it had started earlier. And I think it would have made more sense the other way around for buy-in.
That's an interesting point, because CrossFit was a massive wave, right? Jack's right. It was 07. And then the way that the growth started happening through like 2010 to like 2016.
That smug grin.
He's like, fucking right.
I remember that.
Yeah, goddamn right it was.
No, I specifically remember because it was right around I graduated high school. I graduated high school in 07, and they used to have it on ESPN2 that have the early days. And I'm like, what are these idiots? Like, this is just another one of those like just showy events like World's Strongest Man, or like the dogs jumping into the lake to try to get the frisbee or whatever you're throwing for the long jump thing. I'm like, what is this gimmicky thing? And of course, then fast forward a few years, I'm like, this stuff's kind of cool.
I watched that, by the way. I will stop channel surfing and watch those dogs jump in. So there's something there.
No, those are the best the ESPN the Ocho level stuff. Fantastic.
That dog's not on a leash. Shouldn't come out.
Leash law. Owner can jump in. That's what I'd like to see, a combined jump.
A double jump.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember watching it in like 2011 and being hyped watching CrossFit. It was before like the ranch or whatever, or after the ranch. But there was definitely exponential growth on CrossFit. And if Hyrox could have tied into that, like maybe people could have picked either direction. But it seemed like people got into CrossFit and really wanted to see what they could do. But even by 2011, 2012, like these dudes were already crazy strong. It was already like, okay, this might not be what I thought. So if there was kind of like a side by side then, or now Hyrox is kind of, CrossFit's kind of peaked. It's kind of on a plateau, still massively popular, but the growth obviously isn't what it was. So it would be interesting to think about if Hyrox would have been able to capitalize on that then, or if it's better now because of this plateau and people are kind of looking for something different.
Do you think that CrossFit, if they chose their path a little bit differently, could have appealed to some of these Hyrox level athletes? Like, I feel as if you're going to be really good at CrossFit, there are just too many things you have to be good at. When you boil it down to OCR, it's just essentially trail running and being good at grip strength over the course of a race. That's kind of, you can simplify it to that. You've got way too many domains that you have to be good at in Hyrox or in CrossFit, but Hyrox, you know the systems that you're going to have to use. Like there is a set specific list of work zones that you have to do with running. You think that if they did like CrossFit cardio versus CrossFit strength, if they just kind of had that division at some point, they could have maybe started this on their own back then, for instance. Like, do you think that they just went all into having to be the universal perfect athlete at every single weird fitness component instead of just branching out, like, here's your section to go to? That might have been a different outcome.
I don't know if it was the variety. It's what was the most important. OCR, it was like, at the end of the day, it's running. And CrossFit, at the end of the day, it was Olympic lifting. And that was the issue. But what I agree with you on that, Jack, is that when I was living Milwaukee and then out in Colorado, the only times I got invited to a CrossFit gym was when they had one of their epic WODs, like something big in scale.
Like a
They're
hero
doing
WOD?
Murph,
Yeah.
but yeah, some sort of hero. But it was always CrossFit endurance. Those were the ones when, like, you know, at a youth group or a church or a group that wants to bring people in, they have this big picnic and they show you like the best of what you could be so that you come and want to be a part of it. They chose their CrossFit endurance WODs to get people into it. And then you had to get good at lifting afterwards. So I wonder if they hadn't just continued with that, is there was a version, or their emphasis version was CrossFit endurance, if they would have just been CrossFit and Hyrox at the same time. They don't invite you for Helen or Linda or things like that. That's not their, hey, look how cool we are. It's
30 snatches for time.
endurance.
Why don't you show up racking? Like, not doing that.
Yeah, little Isabel for you. Yeah, I don't know. CrossFit's methodology has always been being prepared for the unknown and unknowable. It's a lot more like what GoRuck has been trying to do, right? Like being prepared for the unpreparable, and they still have those type of things when you get to the CrossFit Games. But CrossFit as a sport and how it's kind of developed has turned much more into just like the lifting part, the skills part, being super strong. But I don't ever think that they had a clear distinction on what they wanted to accomplish with this in terms of the sports side of things. It was always like making sure people are preparing on as much of a vast scale as possible.
Well, the term functionally fit, like you can, be prepared for anything that life throws at you, essentially physically.
Right. Fittest on earth. Fittest
They
person
were the
on earth.
first. They could do whatever they wanted. They had no rules to follow.
Good point.
They led the way. They want to make it an Olympic lifting competition, by all means, because we started it, right?
Yep.
They missed out on a pretty big opportunity, I think, to expand CrossFit, the endurance, and CrossFit the traditional or something. I mean, it's just, it wasn't their shtick, but like, they didn't have to play by anybody's rules but their own, right? They can still make it up. They were the founders, which is just an interesting note. Because think about this, like, do you remember like the first Netflix documentary or whatever that came out at the ranch, and these guys are running up the sand hill and it's all crazy and these guys are just losing their minds. And we like to gripe about I like to gripe anyways about OCR of old, the unknown and the grittiness. And now like that's transferred into a sterile environment. And CrossFit's kind of done the same thing, right? A little bit.
A little bit.
It's much more sterile, but does that end of the, did the CrossFitters gripe about it? Like I like to gripe about OCR, or do they not? It's just interesting because they can do what they want, I feel like, ever since the beginning. But maybe there's podcasts about people griping about where CrossFit's headed in the last few years. I'm sure there is.
Big time. Yeah,
that's all they do.
I've been listening to it, and it's
I don't
more
listen to
negative
any
than
of
I thought. I was like, oh man, people
Really?
are. Yeah, I was surprised because usually because CrossFit, the name, you like couldn't use it, and they were very protective over their like IP. So basically,
You couldn't even mention that would be like us not being able to say Spartan on a podcast.
right. Or
That's insane.
you could mention it on a podcast.
CrossFit
but, like,
was used like OCR, the term was.
Oh, okay.
and yes,
What are the big gripes then right now? If you've been, because I don't listen to any of that media.
like I know that they are. Well, it's a lot of this, the judging, the standardization, like making
right.
sure people are hitting these standards. Like they get a lot of people who are complaining about that, even though the athletes are superior. And like they're still like, oh, this air squat was like maybe not that much. Like, okay, sure. Like, yeah, Danny Spiegel needs to, like, that would have changed her entire workout. Whatever. It's a lot of that. They're actually they're doing some things we've talked about, but they have some things in motion on the athlete side where they are more or less unionizing, trying to get some things together on that respect. And also the qualification system, they're not very happy with. Like the open is kind of silly for athletes who are going to qualify no matter what. So they're kind of trying to develop a world ranking so that they can have world ranking. And then once you get into like your region, you can, like the way that they did it this year, Jack, I think I sent this out in our group chat. Like they had people qualify through regions like where they live, but from this ranking, they're then allotting different spots to the CrossFit Games based off of the depth of the field.
Africa has one, for instance, but the Northeast or the Eastern North America has like 10, but West has 9. It's like a weird, uneven distribution.
So similar stuff to what we gripe about for Hyrox a lot, but just on a more advanced scale.
There's a ton of similarities between both Hyrox and Spartan and CrossFit. But Spartan's interesting because you had DeSena and CrossFit had Castro.
Mm.
And they were allowed to steer the ship a lot. And Glassman.
Mm-hmm.
And they both did the same thing, which is where the test was not indicative of the lesson plans. You get to the games, it was just like, hey, we're going to do whatever we want. And that's Spartan did that and CrossFit did it. And we complained about it for Spartan, and it's why CrossFit was popular. It's probably why Spartan was popular.
Do you think that if they went back to not showing the map, and I hate personally the thought of that, I would like to know when I'm going to have a big hill in the second half of the race, for instance, or what the gauntlet's going to look like. But do you think that kind of hurt OCR's popularity a little bit? Like that unknown, you genuinely don't know what's going on in a race versus now it's a little bit more predictable.
The old classified days on the maps.
Yeah.
There's 13 classified obstacles, you guys.
It's like, oh man, one's monkey bars.
Wall.
Oh shit.
I've thought about this for years. Did that matter or not? My gut says it's just an outlet for people to complain about what was lost. That thing that they couldn't identify, that grittiness of Spartan that was lost. They represented it as the map or burpees or whatever. Gladiators not being there. The gladiators didn't matter to anybody in a race in a positive way.
Pretty cool. It's like, whoa, what were you doing where you were getting hit by American gladiators dressed like Spartans? That's crazy.
LARPing.
This event. Just out LARPing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it matters or not, but I do know that the community as a whole did not like what it represented.
Which part? The map. Okay.
It represented the shift away from everything they were there first for, which
I'll
has
tell you
to
what,
happen for anything to grow.
Speaking of gladiators, if they brought the gladiators back, I know like Spartan, generally these OCRs struggle with getting enough volunteers. But if the gladiator position was like a volunteer position, I think you would have record numbers of volunteers showing up to go smash idiots at the finish line. The volunteer rate would go through the roof for a free race code, and I get to beat up on like Ryan Atkins. Heck yeah, I would pay to do that. That'd be amazing.
You'd probably you'd start seeing guys like Atkins like at the finish line just waiting. He's like, "Oh, VJ, I got you."
Yeah.
He's just volunteering, not even racing.
Who would be most targeted by the general public?
I bet if Hunter was still racing, people would want to give Hunter a lick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They might be in trouble though.
Yeah, like Hunter come right at you.
They need the those guys just out there basically throughout the course, just beating you. It's like, oh, water station, boom, whack right in the face. Like
that should be. They should get rid of half of their obstacles and replace them with gladiator people
getting
out there.
assaulted.
There's like
What is that?
8
Three
gladiator
ninjas?
passes. With the little kids.
Yeah, is that one they did
Rocky
the skateboard race?
Rocky Tum Tum and Colt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would volunteer if that were the case.
I'm
That'd
in
be
too.
all-
Yeah,
that'd be a
who
day.
would your
That'd be
target
a
be?
day.
It would be everybody coming at
Rich
everybody's
just
head.
wants to fight everybody
Yeah.
still. Bracken's waiting for Chris. We know that.
No, come on.
She's waiting for you.
Yeah, she'd be
She'll
lying.
never catch me.
I'd be in the crosshairs.
It'd be hard when like one of the nicest guys, like Glenn Race, comes through the finish line. You're like,
Sorry, man.
my job is to just sidewipe this dude, but like I feel a little bad, but like and just taking him out anyways.
You'd probably want to after SoCal.
Nah, he's
It happened in Vegas to Hunter and Cody. They came through the gauntlet together, and there were 3 gladiators and 2 targeted Hunter.
Oh no way!
And Cody
There's big
snuck
prize
through.
money at that one also.
Yeah, it was a
That's
swing
funny.
of like $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
I would put Nick Riker's lights out. Just wow,
well, bam.
take him down.
Mandatory Nick mention. Yep.
Nick, I
That
think
was a
we
man.
should shout Nick out. Sub 12 club.
For the Deca
By
Strong.
a good margin.
He's
Yeah.
within 20 seconds of Kent.
And I watched the
Mm.
video and I
Kent
saw
Kent was
nothing
11:10, I think.
skeptical.
30 seconds of Kent.
Yeah.
Whatever it was close.
It was
There aren't
good.
too many
We're gonna-
11:40 guys.
If we're gonna talk about judging though, like I've been seeing one video after the other of these lunge situations.
I know.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about that? I'm seeing
know.
more jump lunges than
I know
lunges.
you can do lunges like I do, nice and slow.
You could just get last.
Can't you just make them jump lunges? Knee touches the ground, fine. Go flying. Who cares?
Yeah.
Does that clean it up
Just
easier?
get rid of the
Anyways.
standard or make it walking. Make it like go down, back,
Yeah.
and not. Have to
Yeah,
worry
but then you
about-
got these jabronis who are shuffling their feet.
Yeah,
Again.
gotta lock that up.
I still think the best way is you need to have 2 separate lines. Heel has to go past the front one, and then both toes have to go past the back one when you reset. And that's
No matter
That's
your
worse.
height.
I mean,
That's true. That's a good point.
You
yeah,
have like Forrest Bogue doing the splits and you're just tight lunging.
doing the splits. Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Horse
don't
is
know.
a monster shape
He-
too.
I was gonna say Forrest. He was right around 12 flat also. So
Yeah, very
dangerous.
impressive.
And as long as I'm starting shout outs, John Clark
It's a beast.
smashed
Monster.
Hyrox too.
Dude's
He's
a
probably
beast.
about to go win Big
45?
Bear.
How old is he?
He's in the 45 to 49
Yeah.
age group for
He's
sure.
He's just about 50. Yeah.
But you wouldn't throw him in
Inspiration,
the would transition naturally to Hyrox category.
Not a
Like,
bigger guy.
He was a mountain runner. He's a huge
Yeah.
engine. He's going to struggle on stuff. He comes out and runs like what, 62 or 64 and
For open.
smashes.
Yeah, for open,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
But
But I,
really, really solid.
I don't know if he's doing England. I don't think he's going to be at Worlds. I would like to see
doubt
it
it.
though.
He's one of those guys. Same with like Heather Golnick and like some of the other athletes.
But
where
she's not a guy.
Well, first
Other
example is tough. You can fix this, Jack.
Listen, what I was trying to say is Rich earlier mentioned like it just didn't exist yet. If it was 20 years ago, everybody would have known John Clark's name. Everyone knows Heather because she still dominates right now. I know Kim Cole, she's doing really well in the 50 plus range in hybrid, and she's done it in OCR. There are a lot of people besides the few standard names that everybody knows, and it's just a shame. Like, you know that somebody out there is like, I genuinely would have been giving Hunter a run for his money if this existed 20 years ago. I can't prove it.
That's what everybody would think.
Leo Rugland
Oh yeah, he's nasty. He was like a low 4 miler, I thought.
in a 151 or 152 8 guy. Still jacked. He's like 50 now, 45 or 50.
He's hitting train to hunt hard these days. I still see a bit of his stuff. He's a local guy.
I just checked. He was
My
7th or 8th at 2012 Spartan World Championships at like 40.
Oh, at the an elite. Nice.
Yeah,
You're just back in them
Even Klein.
archives.
Yeah, I was looking at a couple old results about like time gap comparing the eras.
You got something you're working on you're gonna share, or
Just go on my page. I've already printed that.
Someone asked me in a meeting how good they thought I actually was. Like
They asked you
what I
that?
made. Yeah. Like, and I looked back, I was 9 minutes behind Hobie in second place and like 15 behind Cody. Like that average time gap.
When you took third.
When I took third.
And the race was longer
Podium.
than 7 minutes, so this is out of your wheelhouse.
it was it
just-
like 4 hours though? Was it crazy long?
2:59 I
3-1. Yeah.
Yeah, those 3 hours.
15
Point-
minutes back.
I was something from Cody. I looked from Hobie. I was 9 back from Hobie. And any other year I looked at where that would put me in Spartan championships, and it was never better than 7th.
Yeah.
So point was, it wasn't that good. But that year, that time, it wasn't deep. It was top heavy. Anyway, that's an aside. It was just, I was proving to someone that I wasn't someone that would have like done that any other year. You had to be there.
I'll still give you a fringe top 5 in some years. If it was at Killington, I think some people wouldn't have done as well.
You gotta add in the grit. How much
I'm
of a
arguing
gamer
against
you
myself.
Yeah,
There's
you're
an
doing-
era thing.
You're just looking to rip
Alright.
yourself down more and
I mean,
more,
if you're like
proving it.
94, 95% a winner right there against Prime, Hobie, and Cody.
No.
like-
Hobie was second.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, this was the Cody year, 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which further exemplifies my point.
Okay.
Sidebar, doesn't matter. Just interesting. Lee Earl, I looked back and saw, wow, I didn't know Lee was like 7th.
Yeah.
You're the 15th
I think I was
greatest
like
OCR athlete of
9.
all time.
7 to 9 minutes behind Killian in 2019, and I was.
That was a
11.
2.5 hour race. So
Right.
Yeah. But that's
But-
my point.
Yeah. The point. Yeah, it's shoved back.
And I was in a pack racing.
Were we there, Kirk? Like 9th?
11.
11.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of
Good.
those get gapped and jog to the finish line. I was in a pack of people. We were racing to the finish, and I was that far back.
Mhm.
There were 3 Olympians in that race.
Hey, busted
That's
their asses.
always going to be
Vermont's-
the nature. That's always going to be the nature of our sports, hybrid OCR.
Yeah.
It's like, wish I found it earlier, because
Yep.
the way the system works, the way it's fed to us, you don't find it earlier.
No.
It's
Yeah.
the few exceptions to the rules, like the Rylands, Hawk had
VJ.
a dad in it.
Yeah.
VJ, like those are the exceptions. Everybody's sitting there thinking, like we all are, like, man, if I found this when I was 25.
Right.
But anybody who was a runner was still chasing road times or the trails, and anybody who wasn't a runner needed time to find it somehow.
They're
So
partying,
it's just like,
hanging out.
yeah, they're partying. It's gonna be the same.
It's
It's gonna be the
true.
same story for the till the end of time.
You have
Except
to
for
get
the
lucky.
exceptions.
If unless this starts to influence the youth, like how we
Mm-hmm.
have young CrossFitters in.
Did you see
There's-
that article though? There was like a very high percentage of CrossFit teen athletes who made, the CrossFit teen games, but they didn't actually pursue it later on. And you saw like Haley Adams, she's dropped out this year because it's just been too consuming at that
grind.
point. So yeah, I feel like it would be nice to find it earlier, but it might not have resulted in more longevity for athletes.
I've been saying, like, and I think we all have, like, Spartans' efforts to potentially get into the Olympics and standardize, I think, is going to be potentially the death of the sport as we know it. However, when you speak about getting youth into the sport and actually developing a system, I think the Olympic bid, which I still think is a very far cry from a dream, if that were to happen, I think that would be one way to turn that around, potentially to get like younger kids aspiring, right? Like, I can't imagine anybody in the entire world would fence unless they knew they had a chance at going to the Olympics someday,
True.
for example. So like, I think that could translate. I
joust.
think or joust, whatever you feel like.
Touche.
Hey, I'd watch like a joust to the death. That'd be
That'd
but-
look cool.
that would get viewership. But point being is, I think the one way if it trended that way would be on the youth side. We might actually get some buy-in. That way.
This is gonna sound negative, but the way that youth will want to do it is if it's cool. And I think that there's a big coolness factor that OCR just doesn't have. That hybrid could have, that CrossFit kind of has.
They started that. Spartan really promoted early on in their kids race, and you started seeing all these Instagram handles of like 12, 13-year-old kids, Spartan Racer, Spartan Future Pro or whatever. And none of them stuck with it. As far as I know, not one of the people that started an Instagram early is this is my thing and my parents are supporting it. We're going to go out. None of them are in the elite or pro ranks right now. It just didn't take.
Has there been enough time yet?
Yeah, this would have been like Jack, here's another chance. When did the kids race start? 2014?
I was gonna say I thought they had one at the first Cowboys stadium I did, which was 15. So it probably started just before that.
Yeah. So we're talking 8 years now, 9.
Yeah. And that program seems, well, they had that kids championship a couple times, which I thought was really cool. But it seems like the kids races are more like, I'm racing, so I'm bringing
My
the
parents
kids
are here
and
and they don't want to.
Yeah,
they don't want a babysitter.
My parents are making me do this more or less.
Yeah. But just think back in high school, how cool would your coaches have been if you were back, senior year, such as Rich when you were winning state titles or getting top 3 in that?
Sure. Yeah.
You think that they would have been like, go ahead, do Palmerton during this track season? I don't think that's happening.
No, no chance.
That's
we
why
used to
Huck
have
called
to-
and tell his coach in college that he was in
my
Utah.
college coach.
He's like, I just ain't gonna tell him what I'm planning on doing.
We used so many fake names during road races back during college, like during the summer. It's just, we're not going to tell you that we're doing it, but we still need to get a couple tune-ups.
What was your best fake name?
Sal Manella. That was what I used to go by.
Manila.
Oh, I like that.
Mike Oxmall. That's you, but whose is that one?
Apparently you.
What was yours, Bracken?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
You just put your regular name and people are like, what the fuck?
I wasn't winning anything.
That's fake.
This isn't a real name.
Who's this person in 18th place?
Yeah.
Road racing wasn't really my strike it rich venture. Although I did, I got in trouble in college. I ran a half marathon with Lisa. She had graduated and she wanted to run a half. I ran it with her, side by side with her, and I took third and she took third because all the runners were in college or whatever, and I accepted all my stuff.
Clearinghouse.
Got a tub of Heed. You ever had Heed?
No.
Hammer Nutrition. Everyone hated it. I loved it.
What is this? Like
super watered down, flavorless, like hydration drink.
Nice. I could get down with that.
So you should be
Coach
stricken
is
from the
pissed.
record books to all of college.
Yeah, you needed the NIL back then. You would have been.
You're not going to need a very
You're
big
Reggie
marker
Bush.
to do that.
DQ'd.
But one thing you run 782 meters on the road. That's
52.
a good 52.
52. Come on.
My
You know
bad.
what? No prize.
No prize for that?
All about the glory.
What's the coolest or the weirdest non-cash prize you guys have won at races? You want to brag about it, not your trophy, like the.
Oh, I was gonna
Jack's
say
going to
I
get
got some genuine World War II Army helmet for winning some Texas OCR race, and it
That's
smells
legit.
like it's from World War II. Also,
That's kind of cool. Kirk, don't you have like a sword or like an axe?
I have a hammer that's
A
like
hammer,
a
that's cool.
16-pound sledgehammer. That was the trophy. Yeah.
That's sick.
I
I
once
have the-
won a 3-year supply of muscle milk. I
Nice.
won, which actually at the time, I crushed that. I won this race called the Muscle Milk Full Woodsy, which was like a 10-mile trail race.
that doesn't involve Ryan Woods.
No,
Full Woodsy.
Oh, okay, 'cause
either
I was
the full
about to-
Woodsy or the half. But a whole year, every month, they showed up at my door, and that's still the best thing I think I've ever won. More than
That's pretty
cash
good.
prizes, more than anything. I thought so.
That's pretty good.
Best thing was mine. Same thing. It was at that Ultimate Athlete, the Men's Fitness Ultimate Athlete Games. My
World
brother and I
champ.
went 1-2,
Newspaper
And-
feature.
and we were the only podium people that talked with the guys afterwards from Men's Fitness or whatever. I don't know what it was. There's supposed to be this article or something. So we talked with them, and they're like, "Oh, we have all this stuff we're supposed to give you guys," and no one else had stuck around. And so we got to take as many muscle milk bottles, Metrex bars, and one Cliff Builder bars as we could fit, and we had brought a minivan. And so for a year, I had an old nightstand that I had just full of Metrex bars.
Oof.
That's nasty.
So
Although
it's
they're
just
free,
Kirk.
yeah, those are the
a
early
GI
version
issues
bars.
right there.
Just not good.
A
They've
year worth of getting swole. But the King Leonidas replica sword from Spartan was made by the museum replica company that makes it for the movies. That was probably the coolest one. It's still greased up in a sheath, sharp to the touch.
what?
Pretty legit. Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah. In case anyone ever breaks in like a horde of zombies, that's what I'm going with.
How'd you get home from the airport? Through the
I
airport?
won that in Illinois or Indiana, one of the two.
What if
Okay.
you didn't? Would they be like, yeah, you can't bring a sword? You
Definitely.
can't
They
pack
took a
it."
hammer. I won like a Thor's hammer, and TSA kept it.
Did you check something like that?
They said you could, but it was like $150. I'm like, that's not worth it. I asked if I took the handle off, if I cracked it off, if I could have a stick and then a block. I'm like, no, we'd know the purpose.
Yeah.
Fairly certain you're just taking this.
It's like, this is sweet. Check out what I got from work today.
I think my best one, we had this like really nice gym that I used to just go to Planet Fitness because it was $10 a month, but there was another one that was like $150 a month, and it had a spa and like everything else included in there. And there was a road race, and I showed up and I won it in like 1730 or something, and I got a free year membership, and I just gave it to my mom for it was a good Mother's Day present.
Nice, a regift.
Yeah. Hey,
A reward.
that was like an $1,800 gift when you monetize it over the course of the year.
I take that
You're a
back.
good son.
First Spartan Race podium I ever got. That was back when they were doing the Innovate gift cards.
That's
Mm.
legit.
And so I traded it
That's
in for a
cool.
pair of X-Talon 190s, and they were made out of like throwaway materials back then. And I got like 3.5 years of 190s out of it because they kept replacing it every time it ripped. It's like 3.5 years of racing and on quality workout day shoes out of one race. That was
Take
the
that.
best thing I
That's
ever
legit.
won.
That's mine mostly. It's just like gift cards to running stores. I don't have anything like super cool. It's mostly just like local road races, you know.
Winning like a frozen turkey for the turkey trot. Been
Things
there.
like that.
Mhm.
Never
Won a
had that.
pine tree
Bushel of
once.
apples. Yeah.
I want
A
a
pine
sapling.
tree. Nice.
Planted it in my backyard.
Still there?
I don't know. We ran past it the other day in our old home. Lisa and I that same year, I did a bunch of racing that year. That's when I was prepping for Killington. So I raced everything I could to try to get like long distance fit. And she and I won a race, a duathlon team race. You just kept one person would run and hand off to the bike, who would bike and hand off to the run, and just kept going for like 3 hours. We won like a kayaking rental and a couples massage, hot stone massage, a breakfast. It was all local to that town. And we saved it up for this ultimate date night. And then when we got back from Colorado, we finally had babysitting, and we went and booked a hotel for the weekend to go use it all. And they were all expired.
Oh my god.
Every single thing was expired.
That's the worst thing you've ever won then. That was cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
They suckered us.
I went on not a rampage, but like a string of just winning all these local road races my last semester in grad school. And I ended up getting some like $250 leather strap watch, like a $500 local cash prize. And there were people who were running like 8:30 in the steeplechase at this school, and they just didn't show up to it because they were on the track
They
team.
were doing
Meanwhile,
stuff.
I'm making bank on some of these things, and I won the One Army Gladiator Dash or something like that, and that was like the first OCR that I ever did, and just trainers, and that had a $500 prize, and I'm like, I am making money this semester without even like needing to be good. So
So it started it all.
Yep.
I had a
Now even if you
conversation
travel across the country, you can't make $500.
For real.
Serious race.
at that 752 meter road race I ran this weekend. I had a conversation with the winner who would run 404 and 408 indoor this year. He ran at BU for one of the races. He's like 14 teen guy, 4 flat guy or what. Anyway, we knew each other through mutual friends, and he was chatting. He said, how much money is there in that OCR stuff? He asked what my biggest year of winnings ever was, and then what the biggest single thing I ever won was. Because this is a guy who could go out and win real things, but there's no money.
No money.
So what's your biggest individual victory in OCR? You don't have to list off your best season, but like, what's the biggest one-time prize you ever won?
$3,000 for DEKA.
It's not bad. What would you have to do in a road race to win $3,000?
You'd have to be almost an Olympian.
Like run 220 in a marathon in Iowa?
Well, like Broad Street, I think that prize is, I think it's less than $3,000. And the winner of the 10 miles just past weekend was like 45.10. Right? Like basically impossible.
I haven't won shit. Maybe $900.
Really? There's a no longer around like fitness event, and I won $5,000 at that, like probably 6-7 years ago.
What?
What was that?
I don't want to talk about it in case it comes back.
Oh, wow.
Was it like
That's
yeah?
playing the long game for
was it
$5,000.
Was it like a chess tournament? What are you talking about? What could this be?
No, this is simply how it was a fitness contest. So that was a good one.
You took them out of business apparently.
Sounds
that was
practically indescribable.
that was way too much.
I know. I'm surprised. Just speaking of easy prize money, back when Tough Mudder had their competitive series, that seemed like the easiest money ever. But no one in the OCR scene really went after it. Rich did.
Oh, I got $2,500 for like a regional race. It was the same weekend as West Virginia. There was nobody at this race.
Yes.
Nobody.
$2,500.
Wasn't that guy
having
Michael
to run
Bailey
hard?
there?
Michael Bailey was there, but that was his first OCR.
Yeah.
I did run hard because he was really good. It was really fast. He was faster than me at the time, but he was like missing Funky Monkey and like stupid little obstacles.
You were good. Yeah.
He was no obstacle specialist.
He was not. No, yeah, I know. And I was like, watch this. I can chill for a while and catch him. What about yours, BK? What was your biggest win?
5.
Nice.
I earned $5,000 at the first Atlas race.
Oh yeah. And that was a hard 5,000 to make because everybody and their mom was there.
Yeah. And I was in like 6th place with a mile to go. I was just like, it was one of those you hate your life and decide to make one last little push for it. And then just the dominoes fell perfectly. But that was my biggest, probably by almost double. A couple 2,500s, bunch of 2s. But even those, like, what do you have to do to win 2,000 in a road race?
It just like there would be no, like for the majority of runners, there would be no chance.
No. You've got to be like a 16 something woman, like probably 16 mid and low to sub 14 for guys.
You have to be one of the best in the world.
Everybody in the region showing
It's the
up
marathons.
Yeah.
The halves and the fulls are where you can win a couple grand, and they're won in like low 220s usually.
Right.
You got to show up to like a Heartland marathon.
Same weekend as a major where like the other people are going to be there.
Sell your soul. You're going to be out of commission for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
You talk about timing. Mine was timing. All my big checks came from before most of the big dogs were good. Where the Spartan website was terrible. It was like who found inside information that Navy Federal was sponsoring a race down in Mississippi. That literally
Even
happened.
McCauley did.
Yeah, I got a text from someone who knew Robert Coble. He was like, hey, they made a mistake on the website. There's going to be $2,000 in Mississippi this weekend. No one knows about it. So he just drove down and did it. You know, those things don't happen anymore.
I think the OCR money board's a thing of the past too. I bet you that's not coming back. We're not much to add up anymore, is there?
It would have to be all hybrid. Hybrids where people are making money.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was one thing that was very confusing to me, especially when I learned how much athletes thought that they should have more money. I'm like, there's no chance to make this amount of money anywhere else doing anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, we should get more. It's like,
well, I was part
$500
of
for
that.
a regional race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could get
you're right.
numero uno, but
You're right. We were
But
already
with
making
such-
more than any other form of running was making outside of Nike sponsored athletes. It was just, we knew behind the curtain what we were allowing them to pay or to charge for sponsors.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's not forget that it costs you $30 to enter a road race and it costs you $230 to enter a beast. There's money. The charge is exponential. The overhead,
That's
of
true.
course, is exponential. But like, there's probably a way. I mean, it's much cheaper to run on the road than it is to run in an OCR.
I genuinely haven't done a road race in years. Is it only $30 still? Because that's kind of what it was back in the day.
Some are
I feel
higher,
like
some are lower.
I was looking at Boulder. I think it's like 60.
okay.
Depends on the
Wanna do
quality of
Boulder?
the t-shirt, Jack. You get a nice high quality t-shirt, that price going to go up.
I'm
right?
doing the Spirit Airlines. I just want to run the race. I don't need the extras.
It's a good
That's
point.
right.
Boulder was like 60 for a tri blend. For a tech tee, it's like 70. You know,
Tech tees aren't even really where it's at.
they're not even
I
better.
don't like them at all.
No, give me a tri-blend or let me go buy my own really technical fabric that I like. I don't want some polyester thing.
Check out 10,000 gear. High
I
quality.
think I'm the only person who likes
Ryan 15.
tech
15%
t-shirts.
off.
Audrey hates them. I'll bring one of them back from a race and just so she can like sleep in it. And she's like, I hate these ones. They smell too bad after they get any workout
After you
smell.
fart all night, Jack, that doesn't breathe.
No comment. Sometimes that happens.
There was a golden, no, it was a Western States golden ticket race, and it was deep. And it was something like 100K or something long, 50, 62 or 100 miles, something. And they're like, it was a massive prize purse was given out. And it was like $9 grand was on the line. And they meant total between men and women 1 through 5. And I realized, man, these ultra people with big sponsors at their races would kill for OCR money still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they ran for like 18 hours.
Right.
Third place got like $750 in a buckle.
Not bad. It's for the love.
You want to know who else ran about 18 hours this weekend? Ryan Atkins.
That's crazy.
See that
Sixth
race?
place.
Yeah, what was he?
Was
He was
in
like
like
7th.
30th early on.
6th, I think, in the Canyon 100
Canyons.
mile or something. And he qualified for UTMB because he finished top 10 there. But yeah, it was something like 17,000 feet of gain plus drop over 100 miles. Disgusting.
Do you think this is him just like, hey,
Which
I'm
actually
gonna
isn't crazy.
I know when you space it over the entire thing, but there were like a couple climbs that I was
still
yeah.
like the number is like,
Yeah.
I'm not underselling it,
yeah.
but I found it, first of all, outrageous performance. He was the least accredited runner
Mhm.
in the top 20. And like Mario Mendoza, I think DNF'd. And so there were people that were legit pro runners who he just took to the cleaners. But I found this race to be a weird one to be chosen as a qualifier for UTMB because it tested almost nothing that you're going to be tested on at UTMB, which is running through the night in crazy vert and a lot of power hiking. Doesn't take away from what they did. That was outrageously difficult because it was 80 to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
But it was a weird race to choose as a qualifier. Does anyone know why they chose that one?
No.
But he smashed. That was a
Justin
monster
Grunewald.
performance. Grunewald.
Justin Grunewald, who we had interviewed, took 3rd in the 100K, got punched his ticket as well, which is good. He's had a few DNFs and a few bad ones. This is a
Was
good,
that the 100K?
good one for him.
He
For
did the
50
100K.
miler.
Yeah.
I think it was 100K. Yeah.
Does that make you think?
Nope.
All
Nope.
right, just planting the seeds. All right, let's talk about these results real fast from London. Give those people their due. After
Hyrox.
for Hyrox, we're back to Hyrox. We're back in
Weird
space.
race.
A little bit of a strange race. On the men's side, it was Harry Thompson was 59.33, Jeffrey Voisin was 60.12, and Tony Revel was 60.34. One of the things that I've been thinking about, and I've asked Sandy about this before, Michael Sandbach, about like where's the depth of competition? How come there's not better higher end athletes in the UK right now when these turnouts are so amazing, and the way in which people want to consume, like most of the content creators now are Brits, right? They put out a lot of information. They're really interested in this. This is like their thing, but the results at the top haven't been that great. I think their courses are the same as American courses or much more similar. So I just think that those athletes are not, like the depth of those athletes aren't able to get into that world level because they're sticking around and they maybe have not figured out like, hey, we got to go to Spain. We got to go to Germany to run these courses because these times are decent. And there was 11 males under 63 minutes, which is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
So there's depth there, but I think that just like the top end, you're not going to see it for a minute. At least with this current format of how they are picking the people that are going to compete at the world level. It's just slower.
And the guy who won was not in the first heat, correct?
Correct.
That's a rough way to do it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's his first one. I don't really know much of him. I haven't seen the name. It may have been his first one, which is pretty
Sub 60.
pretty
on a
nasty.
US
I
course,
think
according to
running
you?
alone. I think running alone is best case scenario for your first Hyrox.
It could
Best
be, yeah.
case scenario.
That's a good question. Let me look that up real fast. Because if you get
Yeah.
sucked out,
Yep. It could be a bad day.
You either want to take the lead after the sleds. I think running 2 on or off of burpee broad jumps is the best time to take the lead and then front run the rest of it. Or you want to be chasing the entire way, someone that's just out of reach, but you're starting to feel the energy shift all the way through to the very end. I do not think you want to be in a dogfight.
This athlete, Harry Thompson, seemed to be a better runner than Joffrey.
Who was AK?
31-21 without Rock Zone. With Rock Zone, it was like 34-33. And Joffrey,
Yeah,
like,
he's got some variability this year.
well, and he hit his sleds, and we've talked about this again. European style racing's not easier, but it's faster. And if you push that sled, it's not going to take. If you push it in 220 and you come out of it, you're probably still going to have juice on a European course. It seems like the UK courses and the US courses, if you try to do a 220, you're going to come out and at burpee broad jumps, you're going to be wrecked. And then all of the runs after that are going to get slower. And that's what happened to Joffrey in this. He still pushed it in like 230, but his runs fell apart really bad. His burpee broad jumps are really bad. Like, things started to really fall apart. Well, and it's like not really his fault, because he's prepared for these Spanish races where he can do this style, and he comes out on here, and we'll see it at Worlds, and we see it in the US, and they just blow themselves up and can't recover. But yeah, it was like 3.5 minutes slower than his, like, there was not a single person in the top 30 in this race. Joffrey is the third fastest time this year.
He's like 57 low, right?
He's 56 something.
Was he? Oh,
He's 56.
And what was
that's
his time?
Kent was 57.
60-12.
So he's like
So-
4 minutes slower.
Right.
4 or
So
5
like,
minutes, or 3,
he's the
4
third
minutes slower.
fastest in time in this year, and he got beat in a race where there's not anybody else in the top 30. So
I was watching this race, not watching, but watching the social of it, and then checking on the scoreboards and stuff. And I was just thinking, if you took a look at all these events as Hyrox and decided, let's just try to even the playing field a little bit. Let's give each region a wild card in.
wild card.
Each region gets one, and you're in charge of it. Who are you giving the wild cards out to?
Who, me?
Yeah, let's say you have 4 wild cards to give.
I can pick myself in all 4 regions.
I wouldn't.
Well,
If you're as good as you think you are, you shouldn't care that the other 3 get in, because you're going to smash them.
correct.
So who do you think is most deserving of getting in that can't get in right now? Who do you think would have a chance to be a championship racer and hasn't earned it?
I think I'll take myself out of it. I think an ass would be a really interesting wrinkle in here. Someone who can run that way. He races aggressive up front, and I think a European style race for him, if he could push that sled into 20 and come out, like, as he pushes it, he gets in over his head and is still able to kind of claw his way back in these US races. I think he would do really well. What are the 4 regions? UK, Europe, and Australia, I guess.
Let's say UK, Europe, US, and then 1 overall wild card, just the best deserving that hasn't been mentioned.
South America.
Yeah,
What is
anyone.
that?
I don't care where they're
Wherever.
from.
I don't know. Jack and Kirk, feel free to jump in on this as well.
Nas is a good pick, honestly. Seb.
This is gonna be a side. This is gonna be. I know it's gonna be a 3-minute side conversation, but has Isaiah Vidal done one?
Miami, and he
First one,
he
took
did
second.
unbroken 100 wall balls.
Wall balls, but has he done any? I mean, he'd be a guy. That,
Yes, he hasn't finished one since.
Yeah.
Oh, he DNF'd.
It
Did he skip a length
murky.
also?
Oh, he did
By-
something like that too. He
He's-
skipped a length on his sled pull or
He
some shit.
skipped a length, was brought to his attention, and then either skipped another length or a run, and then they showed him video evidence, and then he walked off.
If I could be like, give the guy 3 months, I'd be like, Isaiah, toss him in there. That's
Yeah.
just a side. My head went right to him, but I didn't.
He's made
been
for it.
pretty far removed. Yeah.
He's
So
not,
my
he doesn't
point
seem
of-
fast enough right now. Anyway.
My point of asking
Right.
this
That's why I
is
said
that
give him 3 months.
we've made a big deal about why it's broken, but outside of someone in this room, we're having trouble coming up with people who have been screwed over by it.
Mhm.
So how many people have? I mean, it's a bad system, but it's been bad for you. I would say maybe Rylan, maybe
Bad for
Niles.
Rylan.
Mila in there? Did she make the
on
top?
the men's
50?
side currently.
Oh, okay.
Well, I
If you
mean,
got rid of the regional qualifiers from the U.S., that'd be another story too, though. Like Dylan and Magida, for
Dylan's
example. Right, he's in
Time wise.
he is in time.
He's like
Yeah.
58, 30.
he would have
or
been.
so.
He would be 14th time wise. Magida
barely in.
I don't think
Magida would
David
be
would.
out.
McGee, yeah.
Magida be out.
That's
right.
a valid
So I
point.
think so. The U.S. guys, I thought, okay, I didn't know Dylan had a top time, but
Yeah.
you could argue Magida if he wasn't auto qualified for sure.
So there
So
have
the-
been
Realistically, they could just do away with letting Europeans to North American Championship and give away 5 slots, and it might solve the entire issue.
Yeah.
Since we're having a hard time coming up with a lot of people who got screwed.
Well, it's hard to say, right? Like it could be a lot of people if that these athletes like a Bo Willis, a Florian Gast, Graham Holiday, these could all be Marcus Wallace. This could be Colin Steefer. This could be Mark Howe. You know, these could be any of the depth that we have on the U.S.
Okay.
But it's the depth of the Europeans that is good. It's like there's a tremendous amount of depth there, but they get faster courses, right?
Okay.
So like these athletes who, like even a Joffrey, man, like he's like, what's he going to get at Worlds? Like 10th? You know, like, I don't know.
So rephrase it. How many people could go top 5 that aren't in?
Yeah.
Are we saying 2 with that
But-
outside shot?
What's Martin's
Probably.
best finish that he's done? Because he's in 21st right now.
He's just not
I
fast enough.
know. I'm just thinking of people who have been there before. Thomas Tverdik.
Like Dieter, Holger. I don't like, yeah, probably not too many
Yeah.
outside. There's James Kelly. I don't think
Notably you.
probably.
Bracken
Yeah.
Crocker with the women's weights.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Eh.
you see what Meg
now
just
that
did?
2
I
or
don't know
3
about
can
that.
break 60.
Right.
I'm not betting on me.
Yeah.
I know, and that's the thing with this system. Like, it's mostly me that's getting screwed, and that's like why it's like. And I'm here to talk about it
Do
all
you
the
think
time.
we've already beat this, to death? But do you think the general population agrees, or do we think we're very biased in this? That Rich Ryan got screwed.
You don't need to like pick favorites or anything. All that you need to do is look at those US or North America Championship results and see that David Magida wouldn't be in the top 15, yet he beat a bunch of people who were in a head-to-head
agree.
matchup. Like,
I couldn't agree more. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure the Europeans are like, Rich can kick rocks, like that guy, his high horse.
I'd love to see you there just to see how the crowd would treat you on your
Me
wall.
too.
Your walk
oh
up.
yeah,
I think you're full on villain of the sport now.
Huge.
And I
in
think
the
you're
UK.
tainting us.
They love me in the UK. It would be. I'm Irish American. I don't know if that matters to them, but I'm out there. I'd be representing. I speak that language.
they speak that language.
I'd be
English?
out. I
Wow.
speak English.
Good
I'd
for
be at
you.
I'd be at the pubs. You know, it'd be no problem. People would.
Why
love
don't
it.
you tell the
Germany,
the
however.
listeners here real quick, Rich? Maybe you've already said this on the mic, but your run is over. Hey, is that true?
My season's over. I got to run 4
I don't-
exhibition matches this year. Not one single race that mattered, and it's just.
We had some very kind souls wanting to support you to get overseas to race again, messaging us on the back end, really pulling for you, willing to support you along the way, wanting to rally the troops together. But Rich Ryan has decided that his 2023 Hyrox pursuit is over.
It's over, man.
They had to
You know
know. I
what?
don't think we've talked about it on this yet, that you've officially decided not to race again.
At this point last week, I was still planning on racing, and I was kind of like, "Yeah, let's make this thing happen."
Still looking flights. Yeah.
I was looking at flights; they were looking good, and then I signed up for a European race that was stated to be the final race that you could qualify for. Once I ran a time that was in the top 15, I received an email from Mintra, who is like the head of sport or whatever over there, and I was like, "Here's the layout." And I complained about this email on this very podcast show about how there's too many opportunities and too many opportunities beyond our last opportunity. Like that's not fair. Like close it when the US
Same
does-
weekend for both.
Same weekend for both. And yeah, okay, like Hong Kong, sure. They only had one other opportunity. You could race there, whatever. If you want to go to Hong Kong, great. And it was this race on May 13th in Copenhagen. And so I signed up for that race and then learned like a day later, like, oh, we're canceling that one. It's like,
Why are they canceling it? I guess
Because
I
Rich would have
didn't
showed
ask.
up.
they, I wish that they cared enough. This would be really put my tin hat on, right? My foil hat. and just be like, these guys, they really don't want it to happen. Something logistically, I don't think they had good signups. I don't think the franchise that is in Norway and which would have been Copenhagen as well, they're operating under the same umbrella. I don't think they have all the equipment. I think they get it from Germany, and I think there was some kind of logistical issue to get everything there, or like it probably didn't make sense based off of how many people had signed up versus the cost of putting on the event. Money stuff.
And I got a couple of athletes racing in Hong Kong, and they're the type of athletes that I think I could pay off to maybe make something happen down there. So you just let me know. Might be worth the trip.
That was
Chris Davis.
They got freaking people like Hong Kong. Like, yeah, it's like 24 hours of like flight travel, not of like total travel. It's just that'd be insane.
And then you're gonna go race at like midnight back home your time, and it's gonna be
after sitting for 24 hours on a plane.
I should just go and race all these international ones because I love being up super late. That might be my strategy next time.
Not a bad strategy.
Yeah.
You know who the big loser in all this is?
The viewer.
Me.
BK.
Oh, knock it off.
Yeah.
This is, I agree.
I've been sitting here waiting for the call that he and I are going to go over and win doubles. Talking to Kirk, like, Kirk, we could do it, but I've got it. Rich gets first chance. I can swap out a teammate to the same gender and age group, which is Kirk. And he and I are sitting here just sitting like, put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm doing power-based workouts. And then Rich is like, listen, if I can't have it, no one on this podcast is going to Worlds.
No one's getting this glory. Would you have gone? If
We've never had that conversation, Bracken. We've never had this conversation.
On the phone one time, I said, are you interested in doing world doubles? And then we realized it was in Manchester, not Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you flip a teammate out? Is that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I researched. Yeah, it can't change the way doubles age group works. It's the average of your two.
Right.
And so as long as it doesn't change your age group or gender, you can swap.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We should.
That's what we ran into last year with Callie when I had to pull out with my hernia. She was trying to find a teammate. So
I guess, but that was kind of an open. I wonder if they would let us let that happen. Did they let us go?
Rich might be changing his plans.
BK, you in? I thought about bringing it up, but I was too sad.
No, listen. I think the date probably passed to declare.
We're the North American champions.
We're the North American champs, and you, that doesn't mean much to you.
Not
as much as it means to me.
Look at, where's it? I got my banner hanging here for everybody to see.
Yeah, Bracken just has smelly shoes. Yeah.
They do not smell.
He does have the shoe that we wore, though.
Okay.
He does have the shoes that we wore.
I was ready to buy some endorphin 3s or maybe some Mizunos and say, we're going all in on this, baby.
Ooh, that'd been fun to get those Mizunos on your feet and see how they go. Doubles would be a good way to practice that.
Good way to practice them.
For sure.
Do you want to know who the actual real loser in this is? If you look at the women's top 15, there is an identical tie between 15th Jezebel Kramer and 16th Antje Hardis.
Whoa.
65-50 for both of them. And she's making the top 15 and Antje isn't. Both of them raced in Spain. So, they had their advantage there. But like just after her, Jacqueline Lippenmeyer.
Wait, they lunged across the line together?
No. Barcelona for Jezebel and Antje was in Valencia.
How did they make the decision?
They say that the timing does go down to like the next decimal. They just don't post it on here. That's what they said in an email, but they're probably just like, whatever. We haven't really thought about it. So
yeah,
I would believe that.
Yeah,
it's electronic timing. They definitely have it.
What do you think it should be? It should be like your fastest run or something super stupid that doesn't make any sense.
Distance away from Spain.
Right.
A wall ball time.
Wall ball time.
I like that.
That could work.
Or head-to-head record.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's the way to go.
So yeah, season's over on my end. I ran some of the numbers, and like the things that like a big part of it was just this depth of competition that has come up and how much better it is. Like I said, it was even 11 guys under 63 at a race with times that aren't going to be extremely fast is good. There's a lot of good athletes here, and that depth kind of came up and filled in all those spots. So the athletes are getting better, for sure.
Mhm.
And then outside of that, just like the things that, and I really didn't want to go to Europe to do this. Where I really fucked up was going to Dubai. I should have not done that and like gone to Spain or something instead. Like I still
Could have done it on the way back. Pull the hunter.
Like, yeah, like financial
Yeah.
probably could have made it happen, but just like that amount of travel was just like
Yeah.
not something I was really wanting to do. So but I didn't want that to be the case. I was like, this is dumb. Like we should be able to qualify here. And Ryan Kent is the only athlete who's going to be at Worlds who qualified by time on a US course.
Where did Dylan qualify if he wasn't top 3 at regions?
He would have been 14th.
He
So
would have qualified by time, but
he didn't.
Right. So there was 2. There's 2 technically that
Technically,
2 met the
qualified.
standard.
2 met the
2 met the
standard.
standard.
But Dylan's not even all the way in yet. He could very well that time could be bumped out.
Right.
he'll still get a spot, but his
He'll
time
get a spot, but
wouldn't
his time
get in.
might not
Yeah.
get in.
I'm just saying time-wise, only 2 versus European has 13. That's
The rest.
astounding.
Right.
Will we
European
see
races,
some European athletes head to Hong Kong?
I think we'll see James Kelly there, who's Australian.
Mm.
From what I
That's not
understand,
Europe, right?
Wooly?
I don't know. I think Woolie's focused on some different stuff.
Yeah, he was doing like the firefighter mile and something else.
He's going for
he
Murph
basically
record too.
he basically was chasing qualifying last year, like better than anybody else, because he flew from Australia to London, went over to the US. I think he did like SoCal and he did 3 straight weeks plus like genuinely around the world travel to make it happen. It was a heck of a travel itinerary for him, and he just missed out.
Speaking of firefighter games, it's carnival-esque, isn't it, Rich? Your boy, somebody didn't like that terminology that you used. Carnival athlete.
That's a funnier way to put it. Carnival
He's a
games
game
athlete.
show, but yeah.
You said game show athlete.
I said goofy games
Oh,
athlete. I
yeah.
I
believe
said carnival. My bad.
that's a thing they can be now. Yeah, maybe that's another thing for our guy Cole to do. Just put on some firefighter boots. No,
Rich
there's only
called
one
Cole
other.
Schwartz. I'm calling it a carnival games athlete, and Cole Schwartz.
I like that saying better.
Slid into your DMs.
Did
Is
he
he
I
wrong?
understand his frustration, but I think that you should own that kind of thing. And we can't all be a pro marathoner. We can't all be a pro Hyrox racer. We can't all be a Spartan world champion, but I don't think there's any shame in identifying what skill set do I have and where can I use it. I think that's a great thing to do.
We were talking about prize money to start this off. Sean Stevens Whale just won $10,000 by being a carnival athlete.
The-
So
the
good for
goofiest.
him.
There you go.
The
Go ahead and
goofiest.
chase this.
Yeah, that check doesn't hit any different
No.
if you put an asterisk on it or if you put a different label on it.
Nick-
the check cash is the same.
Nick Simmons is paying out more than all of
Than
our
everything.
industries.
It's
Yeah.
not like it's not true. Haven't seen him on a start line all year. Where's he been? He's just like hoping to collect checks, hoping to do events that no one else is there at.
Yeah.
Like
He's the only one who's got it figured out.
you
To
could
be
work,
honest.
you could work really hard and try to get good at other things that other people are good at, or you
I-
could just do games and hope that it works out.
I think
I
Cole
think
needs
that's
to work
unfair.
on it. Yeah.
I think he works really hard at the things he's trying to be good at. It's just not the things you're trying to be good at.
Yeah.
If I could show up
he
to
trains
Dirty
hard.
Girl and pass
does train
$1,000
hard.
check, I'd train for Dirty Girl,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah. And Rich, I think speaking of working hard, I think Cole needs to work hard on his trash talk because I think you owned him in that.
Pretty weak.
Yeah.
Pretty weak.
I'm
He'll
not
hear
getting
this.
involved in this
Too late.
other than to say one thing.
I shouldn't have brought it up.
You can't post your private DMs in a story. Matt Davis did it last week. Cole did it this week. That's just, if there is such thing as like honor among thieves or guy code or whatever weird phrase you want to put on it, that crosses it. I'm a Cole fan. He has transformed his body and his athleticism. I think that I support him, but you can't air your dirty laundry in your stories. Can't do that.
It wasn't even that bad. I wasn't even that mean. That
No,
was
it's a weak move to do that. And he's not a
Totally.
weak athlete. He's a strong athlete. He's just not training for the thing you want to be strong at.
Look, for sure.
He has
But
a point. If what he's doing is weak, show up and beat him and then he'll stop.
I didn't say weak. And he's probably knows all the workouts. like he's like, hey, bet me on this. I know all the workouts. You don't know any. Like, all right. Probably not. probably won't bet you on that.
Still will win.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We gonna see. Where to now?
I cornered us there.
can wrap it.
Bringing that up. That was my bad.
It's all good. Had to be addressed.
Did we have an oral history coming up, or you kind of?
We're kind of touching on all the things.
Yeah.
Most of the things I want to talk about was like how that they said that they were going to have the last race be Copenhagen. They've been very tight on changing the rules of things to the point where when they had the North American Championships and they weren't going to get all the athletes within the top 30 of the world to be there, they like retroactively went back and reinvited Jeffrey and reinvited Sandy, and they just but they're like really tight on not changing some things, but other things they just will like never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Do we have any intel yet on declarations?
Not yet.
Anyone injured or sick or?
Michaela Norman, she's sick, so that might affect the women's side. So you might see Antje move up from 16th to 15th. If I have no inside info, but I know that she's been public about dealing with some hospitalizations and stuff.
And what's Camilla right now?
She is
19 or 20.
19.
I have it pulled up.
Shoot.
So she needs a significant.
Camilla's
hold on.
19 and she's 24 seconds out.
And Rich, you
Rich, how
need
many?
2. Sorry, Kurt.
I think 3.
3 now.
Yeah,
That ain't gonna happen.
ain't gonna
Rich is
happen.
8. Yeah, Rich is 18 and he's 24 seconds out as well. So
At this
Okay.
point, too, I'm just gonna be like,
yeah,
I've decided my season's over. I don't think I would accept.
You wouldn't accept.
I mean, like, I'm not really training.
I think
Like, was
you
kinda
would
training.
if they're like, you know what, wild card invite Rich, come on down in a couple. You'd go.
I would say I didn't meet your standards. I don't want this fraudulent.
What would your drop
invite.
dead date be that you would no longer feel ready to be ready for, sharpen up and be ready if they offered?
It need to be like today.
It's too bad.
Too bad. We'll see.
So Kirk, we can go do doubles, I guess.
Go do
Jack,
doubles.
honey.
We'll see.
Wait, Jack,
I was
how old are
stuck
you?
at 33.
No.
Is
Can't-
Kirk going to be the same age division by the
No,
time the
I'll
race
be
happens?
four.
though?
It's
What's
average.
the date of the race again?
It's your average.
It's your average.
It's like Memorial Day weekend.
So we're 35 to
did.
39 average.
I turned
so if
40
you and I-
before then, but yeah.
Jack,
Still
we would be
works.
34 average.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we add like
Got it.
months to it, I'll be like 33 and 2/3 years old by then.
I don't think that helps.
Okay.
Unfortunately. I'm not a math guy.
Yeah.
Last thing on this is just like the opportunities, and this is an international company, right? So I can't expect to have the same amount of access to these races that they put on. But to qualify for the North American Championships, we had 4 opportunities. They had 11, and then and then after that to qualify for the World Championships, we had 4 opportunities, one of which was Miami, which was outside, and then they had 14,
We had 3.
and we
So-
had 3, and then they put the New York race. They put it after World Championships, so that couldn't count.
You said 14 and 11. So
Mhm.
there are 25 opportunities in the US. You can't count the outdoor, and we're at 7.
7, yeah.
Oh, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Have we ever talked about like having a not just the North American or European regional championship, but just, hey, you can have all these fun events, but just like the Spartan series or the Savage series, these are the 3 events that the fastest times will be made up of. That'd eliminate a lot of the issues.
Have qualifiers, yeah.
Yeah, like sure, we'll have one in Spain. Show up if you want to, but the other ones in Spain aren't going to matter. But that one will allow you to, and
But
do
then I
one in
think
Germany.
then I
do
think
one
there
in
should be a
UK.
cap on qualifiers. Like only 3
Yeah.
people can make it if everyone runs
I get it.
54. You know,
Golden
Yeah.
ticket races.
yeah. Maybe that's where we're going.
Next year.
Because now Australia is going to open up, and that's going to be a whole different disaster.
They've got talent.
They're going to be great, but they're like we've seen that they have a hard time standardizing from region to region, and these things are franchised. So like, yeah, the equipment's the same, but it's not. It's like newer stuff or whatever they can get their hands on. And different people are doing the race or like laying out the races, so they're just not the same. So if you add an entire new region on top of it, it's going to be real hard to deal with.
Earlier, we talked about people who could have found the sport and didn't find it in time, or people who got there right at the right time. I think the combination of those is Lucas Storath. He got there right at the right time and won a world championship. And he also was at the very end of his athletic
He's
career.
like in his early 40s now, right?
And so imagine him finding this at 30.
Yeah. Well,
He'd be the only guy that would battle Hunter up top consistently from the UK.
You think?
Not
Like,
UK,
what if-
from Europe.
What if he was just like the only other person that was good at it? And if we add a bunch of us, he's just like the rest.
From Europe. He's the only European who's shown that he can go at Hunter every race.
Yeah, but that's when Hunter was running like 60 minutes.
Lucas had some interesting
Lucas was 40.
strategies though. So he'd run with them, and then it was not smart to
No, he said, yeah, he would try to like hammer.
suicidal pace.
He was
Yeah.
40 though, and he could do that. What's
I
that guy going to
know,
do at
but-
30?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's
Yeah.
the real deal. He's got a world title. Can't take it away.
Can't take it away. On the women's end of it, just to give a shout out to the women who raced at in the UK, their times were also not very fast. I think they're like 69 minutes
Yeah.
and change. So is Zara
What is it,
Piragiani?
66?
Piragiani?
67 to get you in right now for the ladies.
66 low, right, Jack?
66.
I thought
66.11.
it was 65.50.
So it's
65.50.
under
high.
66. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, Kate Davey was 70.10 and Carrie Hewitt was 70.32. So not
So just for comparison, top 30 times 68.50. So none of them hit a top 30 time.
wasn't even top 30. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys see
Is
this?
Felicity Cole? She's from the UK. I was surprised she didn't give it a shot because she's just missed out on the top 15 as well.
From what I understand, she does like van life. She's like
Oh, okay.
nomadic.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she's not anywhere, I don't believe.
I thought that kind of like reached its peak a couple years ago, and no one really does that as much anymore. It was super popular for a while.
The races aren't there in our circle.
That's true.
Yeah, you could do Hyrox van life and race 25 times in Europe.
Go from CrossFit box to CrossFit box across the country. That would be your
Be sick.
opportunity.
I'm interested. I would do
Sweet.
that. Pivoting, something adjacent. You guys check out these. BK, you got something? Looks like you got something.
I was just, I wanted to know. We've been running our mouths, flapping our gums about showing up for a race. Are we going to target a Hyrox next year or something? Race brain abroad. Are we going to do
I'm
something?
down.
But
I'm
it's
gonna
late
do
winter.
the winter of training.
I'm thinking about it. So give me till January, February. Let's roll.
Yeah, that would be so. The races came out. The race schedule came out again for the fall for the U.S. and it's I think there's 2 races in November. Oh, that was another thing about qualifying for like this past year. There was a couple races in. There's one race in October, which was New York, and then Chicago was November 5th. Dallas was November 19th, so 2 weeks apart. One was 2 weeks before DEKAFIT. One was on the same day as DEKAFIT. And I know like they can't make their schedule around that, or maybe they'll do the Spartan thing where they will specifically make their schedule like on top of other events. And like that was our choice to not do it. But the fall was like not right for anybody who wanted to do DEKAFIT well. And this year it's like, all right, well, now I know it's like Hyrox needs to be all year. It needs to be like prepared to do it if like, because you're not going to be given an opportunity to race your way in, then like you kind of have to be ready to do Hyrox. So from that perspective, it's kind of smart because it is making the athletes need to have Hyrox as their priority for most of the year, but also kind of sucks. It also sucks for the athletes where there are other opportunities to do races, to do battle bunker type stuff. We have to be ready for Hyrox. So that's probably gonna be my plan. But
Do
yes,
we have a schedule first part of the year yet?
they do, and it is similar.
Do they have a Chicago? That would be convenient for all of
January
us.
through March. Let's get after it.
They have a Chicago that's October or November. They haven't done the spring one yet, which I think that spring winter.
What's normally February? Is that Dallas?
Chicago.
Usually, yeah, because I went out there at the end of January a couple of years ago.
They've had end of January and they've had February.
Yeah.
So this past year it was November.
The only drawback of this that I'm seeing is a lot of times I bet that they wouldn't put us in the same heat, and Rich wouldn't fall back into the race brain.
Why not?
Heat
We got
two.
We got
You
guys
wouldn't
on
try
the
to
inside.
after how limited your qualifying opportunities are. You'd do one just to be in our heat if
No,
others showed up.
Make some phone calls, get you guys in there.
I'm a North American champ, Jack.
That's true. That's true. And I beat you
Two-time.
pooping, so that's got to count
Yeah.
for something.
Yeah, Jack and your OG. Kirk will just be like, dude, I don't know.
So
What story would we build for
He's an
Kirk?
influencer right there. He can help.
See all those
Not with
vitamins
the
he's
right
got?
demographic. Dude, I got
Yeah,
lots of
get that
vitamins.
vitamin pack while you're walking up to the start
They
line.
accidentally got me on a twice a month auto ship instead of once a month, so there's these boxes are stacking up in
You
the
just, like,
house too.
Pissing like neon yellow, just crushing vitamins.
Extra
Taking the
vitamin B.
appropriate amount, but there's still I can't keep up with two times daily dosage.
That doesn't seem well. Like you probably
Anyways, you
wouldn't
need
be
a
well.
vitamin guy. Give me a call. I got some vitamins.
What up, the
Patreon
trench
giveaway.
coat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's pick a late winter, early spring race. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Let's go to Spain.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get into the European Championships if they allow it next year, and I'm fucking going. It's like I'm just going to have to make this happen. Like try to be really ready way too early and get to the European Championships. That's going to be like my A race for the fall.
Because you
For
just
the winter.
need to meet the top 30 standard, I believe, at an
It'd
early
probably
enough point.
Probably be top 15.
Oh, I thought they did top 30 for being able to race this year.
But
There wasn't much roll down at that point. So.
only one roll down spot.
Yeah. Okay.
Only
Good
Dylan
point.
didn't go,
Yeah.
which allowed Megita to go.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, get fit early. That'll be fun to see.
That'll allow you plenty of time for 2 peaks too.
I know.
Show up, peak, hammer, recovered, repeat, ready to peak again at Worlds. That's the best way to go.
But it's got to be just for Hyrox, right? Like
Right.
Deka will be like, we'll see how it goes. Battle Bunker will be kind of the same.
Do you think you can race really well at Hyrox and pretty well at DEKA at the same time?
Probably even faster than what I had done. I think I could.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
No need to
see.
write off DEKA.
No, I'll still do it, but it won't be like the same type of emphasis.
You don't need to practice your sit-ups or like the wall over ball toss. Like that shit,
You just do it.
you're good to go.
I agree.
I'm hoping they switch up the stations next year for Hyrox, and then I'm back in the game.
What do you want?
A lot of walls.
He wants a
Walls.
wants like a 200
Instead
meter
of-
bear crawl.
Ugh.
Nasty.
You just want it to be the Spartan
Sure.
3K indoor. Just barbed wire, laser pistols.
Yeah, just at a Hyrox venue.
Yeah, just
100 laser pistol
just
shots.
inside.
Would you are you guys thinking of doing a DEKA this year, by the way, Kirk and Bracken, since we were just talking about when Hyrox is happening? What's
Indiana's penciled in as my qualifier.
I
The fall.
like that with Fort Wayne.
Fort
Yep.
Wayne.
it's just down the street from Kirk, as we showed,
Yeah,
like
5.5
600 miles
hours.
away.
That's what I heard. Everybody's telling me no big deal. Go, you got something in the Midwest.
10-hour
8.5 hour
drive.
drive or 10-hour drive. It's like, you guys have no idea of the geography of where we live.
Yeah,
it's like Canada too. It's like, oh, it's a Canadian race in like
yeah.
Vancouver.
It's like, that's Vancouver.
I live in
in
Montreal.
Montreal.
5-hour
Yeah.
flight for somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I have 3 DEKA-mile opportunities.
Gotta get them.
Nice.
Gotta get them.
I
Only
gotta
2
figure out
are
a DEKA
probably
mile.
realistic. One is the week before Indiana.
I'm slightly concerned about the Indiana format. It's the road show, and they did that in New Jersey, and they did like heats of like 3 people at a time or something. It wasn't like a DEKAFIT that we've had, so I don't know if that's what it would be like. I don't know if that necessarily deterred me from doing it. It's a closer flight than PA, and
Get room together.
we can hang out. Love Indiana.
If it wasn't on my birthday, I'd consider it, but I'm not spending my birthday in Indiana.
Come on, dude.
That's disrespectful.
Big time.
I've got other plans. So.
What's the matter with Indiana? The Hoosiers. We'll go to. Is there like a high school basketball Hall of Fame or something up there? There's got to be some sort of
We're not going to
basketball.
room together.
You don't want to go to that?
You want to go look at high school kids?
Rich, speaking of Hall of Fames, did you just get elected to yours?
I did.
Yeah. Look at
19
that transition.
19 years later, they're like, we're out of guys to recognize. You want in? I was like, yeah, I'm in. man."
I'm on ours.
You
and,
are?
It's almost 100% because my parents are in charge of it. It's just nepotism.
Jeez.
I would say that is probably the case. Did you guys have standards, or was it just like like recognize somebody from each year kind of deal?
You had to complete certain amount of I think it was just college or international competition experience after high school. It wasn't
Oh, it
about
was like
being
a
an
post-high school.
outstanding. It was about more like lifetime achievement. Our wall of fame
What
is a
did
little
you
different.
do?
I was All-American in
Okay,
college.
But why are they rewarding post-college excellence instead of what happened during high school for a high school Hall of Fame?
I don't know. B, that's my mom you're talking about. So you better watch yourself.
Watch your mouth.
Hey, I'm being
And
kind.
see, I think they're trying to build a winning culture of
Oh,
this is what our alumni have gone on to do.
gotcha.
We had also like there's a wall of fame, which is for sports, and there was like a wall of honor thing. This was wild. It was like a 5-hour ceremony. It was long. It was my wife Amy. It was like a birthday, so she came back to my hometown to listen to people talk about themselves in high school. And one
Were
guy
you there?
was, what's that?
Were you there or
I-
just Amy?
I went. Amy
I
came
think Rich
too.
went.
Okay.
It was
He was
catered.
there
It was
early.
great. There was one guy who got nominated for the Wall of Honor, graduated in the 40s, but he was instrumental in the invention of Tang and Pop Rocks. So I was like, put that man on the
Wow.
wall.
Is that
It
NASA?
took that long to get that man on the Wall of Honor.
Put him on the wall.
He's like 100 years old. You said.
But he was not there to receive his
Oh,
award.
oh. I was like, that's kind of brutal. That's like Pete Rosing it right there.
Waited all that time to be recognized by Easton, Pennsylvania, Easton Area
Yeah.
High School, class of 44.
You guys know that I was the MVP of my entire senior class at my seniors awards banquets. All sports.
Wow.
You imagine? It's a testament to how bad our school was at sports.
What's like this team? What's like the school's best known sport? Is it cross country track?
Probably soccer is what they're historically best at. And
I've had
tennis.
desk drop.
Hydraulics, bro. Heard of them?
Look at that.
Kirk, I'll follow up on that. I won the Crusader Award because that was our team's or our school's mascot name, and I won it my senior year for outdoor track. I won that during the spring season. So
I cleaned house. They called up like 7 people. This is early in the awards, and they called up all the smart kids and me. And they didn't say what it was for. And I'm sitting standing up on the stage, and they're like, and the mathematics award for overachieving math student, this smart person, and the science award, this person, and the history award, this person, and the physical education award went to me.
Nice.
I was up there with all the brains because I went undefeated in badminton my senior year.
Fuck yeah, you did. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my
48 no.
God. You played 48 matches in like a high school gym
We
class?
played everybody twice. And they get this. I think I told Bracken this. So finally, I had this like very butch lesbian gym teacher, quite an athlete. But anyway, she's like, all right, this is ridiculous. And she goes, Kirk, we're going to play badminton. So the final game was me against my 45-year-old gym teacher who was overweight. And I lost like 7-21.
Oh, she gave it to you like that.
Oh, so then she flexed on me hard.
Skilled.
you
And then-
lost
and
against
then
the final
20
boss.
minutes- And then
Yeah.
I did, and then 20 minutes later, I won the MVP, and I felt like a clean house.
Someone's
Some of the
oh
football
must
guys
go.
booed.
Yeah.
All the football guys like booed as I got called up there, feeling slighted.
Physical education. Because I was getting like, we would take written tests and I would get like 100 on that. I was AP. I was advanced placement in gym class. We didn't have that award though.
Okay.
Did you get like the most athletic superlative, or did you have something like that too?
I don't even know what that is.
You didn't do
So
superlatives?
no. Mm-mm.
No.
They did that in like middle school where they gave everyone a trophy, but
Yeah,
not in high school.
we had that in 6th grade. That's it.
Yeah, there's some kid who got like best left-handed penmanship. I'm like, you can't say anything good about this kid if that's the thing that you gave. They're
we
not
didn't-
amounting to much.
We didn't have all those. We didn't
Yeah.
have all that.
I got Mr. Congeniality, and it was the same year that Miss Congeniality, the movie, came out, and I didn't know what congeniality meant because I was in 6th grade, and I
Did you won the
thought
phys ed
it
award?
meant- It sent I was most like a woman or something is how I took it. I got up there so embarrassed.
People just like you. You're just
I didn't
great.
know what congeniality meant. I was 11.
That's
cool.
that's kind of a big word to be tossing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were high school all-stars, it sounds like. I'm in
Nobody's in the Hall of Fame.
I'm in esteemed company
Yeah.
right here.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I still have the 4x8 indoor and outdoor record, so I'm still on the wall.
That's nice. Yeah.
I'm not making the Hall of Fame.
We had a kid come through. His name's Colin Abert. He actually runs for that Minnesota team. There's our pro team in Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he broke my mile record by tenths of a second, and he ran like 9:50 or 8:52, I think, in the 2 mile. And he's been in sub 4 since.
That's real.
So yeah, we had a dude who's like kind of like on a different level come through.
Jack, what is your 4x8 school record time?
8:07.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
Still haunts me.
8:02. 8:02.
What did you split?
With it.
Me, I was 2:03.
Were you guys all too flat?
I've watched that video so many times. Like right now, there's no way. I definitely
you were
broke 2 this
802.
time.
8:02.1 was our school record.
Jack, were you guys
still,
like
man.
state champs?
Second.
Oh wow.
We were 13th.
We had a different high school in town, Central High School in Manchester, and they had 4 guys who were 4:15 or faster in the mile.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But they'd always like try to score points in different events. Like, so this guy, Matt Paulson, he won New England's. Craig Brown, Corey Sinat, they both later placed it. I think Corey won it later, but it was like 2 juniors, a senior, and a sophomore, but they were all like at that level and then never really amounted to much afterwards. I think they just peaked in high school for ability.
They should be doing DEKAFIT and stuff now. That will fill their cup.
Definitely.
I could tell them.
I have one school record that will never be broken. I was the 4th member of the triple jump relay at conference championships, and they now no longer compete 4 people in it. They either don't do it ever or it's 3.
Can you explain this event?
It's just
relay?
your top 4. It's just your top 4 distances combined. But they did 4 back in the day, and they stopped doing it a year later. So it'll never be competed again. And I was the worst person. I was the weakest person. I did it after running the mile or something like that, but it'll never be competed. And so I added nothing to the team, and I will never be displaced.
You know how far you jumped. How was it?
I went 39.0 that day.
Okay.
But again, I had run like 4:26 in the mile, like 8 minutes earlier.
There should be an event that is the perfect skill set for what you have. That there is some sort of explosive jumping.
The basketball dribbling.
Soon
mile.
after running moderately fast.
Yeah, there's got to be people who care to be good at this as well.
So I think my PR was like 39.9. I never broke 40. I never triple jumped 40 until college.
What?
At the distance, the distance decathlon that I hosted. It was basically just a chance for me to finally long jump 20 and triple jump 40.
Is that the one Derek Rubis came to?
Derek Rubis, he got a lot of whitewater swag that day.
Nice.
I rated out all of our bins and gave him a bunch of stuff. He has a speed suit from our sprinters from like 1980. All white. I bet it looks great on him.
Did you guys ever do any field events besides like the random bracketing? Because I did the decathlon at basically like 2 days before I graduated. My coach was like, hey, someone can't make it anymore. I know you're an athlete. You never really got to try any stuff. You want to do it? And I'm like, sure, just teach me how to pole vault. And like the next day and all this. And I got super close to breaking 20 in the long. I think I was 19.7, but I wish I had that to my name, Brack. And you got over 20 feet, so I'm jealous.
Not officially.
Legit.
Oh, not officially? Okay.
It was in college at the distance decaf.
Gotcha.
Not an official. Officially scored, but it's not in the archives online.
There's no documentation.
I threw javelin my senior year at conference. Wild carded me into the javelin.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got us 1 point.
I threw it 144, and like that would have, I don't remember where that would have been, but it would have like it was pretty solid for someone who didn't do it. But I was like, man, I wish I tried some stuff.
170 high.
170.
Does that sound legit?
That's a really good throw.
I got a hose, Jack.
Yeah. Same here. I was a baseball pitcher.
I'll never find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Yep.
Want to talk about these battle bunker workouts?
Sure.
That's on you. I'm going down this.
Yeah, we got some research to do.
You do it. You come back. So they released the battle bunker regional workouts, and battle bunker is going to be interesting, as it is only 21 athletes from each region.
167.
Oh, it was close to 170. You found that so fast.
I also ran 153.5 that day. That's a decent combination.
That's pretty good. Not a lot of people could do that. Let's make an event. Let's make an event for you.
That's no one should ever do that combination.
Just you. The BK. All right. So the first workout in Battle Bunker is basically a mini Murph. They're calling it yard work, where it's a mile. Like you have a 20-pound weight vest, you run a mile, then it's 60 shoulder overheads with a 100-pound sandbag for men, 70 for women. I think 120 push-ups and 240 air squats, and then a mile run. So basically, it's just Murph without the pulling, with extra pressing in there. Honestly,
That's gonna wreck people's rotator cuffs and stuff for later on. That's what usually goes on people.
Their rotator cuff?
Yeah, just like mass.
Can you
push-ups,
fatigue a
push-ups.
rotator cuff?
I know when I've done Murph and just, or when I do like large sets of bench for like a week in a row, just that I have like no mobility in my shoulder because of my rotator cuff. Maybe it's just me.
Probably a predisposed
I've
problem.
never thought,
Could
oh
be.
man, my labrum's fatiguing.
Well, sorry, mine. I'm just telling you what happens.
my ACL is, I can't do any more work.
It's just tired.
Just tired. You
What,
know?
Scott, are you sure it's your rotator, not your supraspinatus?
Right here.
Okay.
You're just probably feeling pain.
No, it's like wrecked. It's like lifted, put on shirts for a few days after. It's pretty rough.
Right.
But
Then the work, I hope it wrecks people, because the next workout is max bench press for 60 seconds, 185 for dudes, 135 for women, and 3-minute rest, and max deadlift, 315 for men, 225 for women. So I'm really going to need people to be very tired after that mini Murph workout, because there are some monsters in this competition, and that ain't going to
How
be
many
very,
reps are you getting? How many reps are you getting on the bench and deads?
of 185.
Mhm.
I don't know, 20, I hope. I think that would be
Okay.
pretty good. I'm thinking dudes are going to just rip this thing apart. What do you think? What do you think is reasonable? What would you get?
Not I'd probably go 10 racket. Give me 15 seconds and then go for another 10.
I might
Probably
I might do
what I might get
fives. I might do like
Yeah, maybe
real
even
small
fives.
sets, threes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe even ones.
Yeah, it's probably going to be that at a certain point.
Yeah.
The deadlifts, I don't know. Probably try to do threes, touch and go. If that's what they allow, I hope that is the case. But that's not, I mean, 315 is not incredibly heavy, but I ain't that light.
I
A lot
wouldn't
more
even do
reps
that.
can be accumulated on the bench.
yeah,
Such a shorter lift cycle.
And I wonder if they're going to do it just on number of reps total or the amount of weight.
yeah. So
moved.
it'll only worry about the bench
Mm.
because you can do more.
Well, then you can make up for, like, if you have a monster, if you deadlift 600 pounds, and you could do,
Oh, you're saying,
You
315
add-
plus 315 plus
Yes.
185. Like, okay.
315
weight
times
lifted.
10
Okay.
plus 185
Yeah.
times
Because
20.
when you think about it, what's a deadlift's going to take? It's going to take you a few seconds to like, get it, the whole motion of it. But a bench, you can 1 second get one rep out. There's, cycle time. I think that's what you said, Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
So don't know how that's going to be scored. I'm sure it's going to be probably the most simple way, and probably just number of reps.
Can you drop at the top of deadlift?
I don't know. In OCR Stars 2021, he did not allow
You want to
a
control.
drop. Yeah. I would imagine that you should need control as well. So you have to kind of have the eccentric down. But I don't think it's going to be an advantage to drop it and have to reset. I think you got to tap and go these things.
Do you have access to fake plates?
But like bumpers.
Yeah. No, like fake ones, like 45s that really weigh 5.
No. Oh, like the cartoon
It's-
animation ones. Yeah.
Like the Instagram plates.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got access to those.
You
That's
think
probably your
people
best
fake
bet.
stuff online?
Constantly people are caught for it.
Man. Huh.
Oh,
In
yeah,
fact,
people lie about that.
Stallone just got caught for it.
Really? Saying bumper
Yeah.
plates is like 15 was a 45 or something.
And I think he was like doing it, he claimed as a joke. But yeah, people get
After
caught
he-
all the time benching and squatting and deadlifting with fake plates.
I gotta hope that that's the case for some of these athletes that are qualified for this thing, because I think these athletes have been benching. If I was gonna assume anything, the last workout is kind of like a double pick the hindmost workout, where every lap of, they said 200 or 400 depending on the venue. Layout, which I hope also is changed, because just make it 2 laps if it's a 2, and every lap the 3 athletes are eliminated. So that could be of 21 athletes, that could be the difference between like I think it's a 2,800 total if it's 400s and like a 1,600 if it's 200s.
Once
You're
it's
getting
down to
100
3,
points. Yeah.
then it's each lap, last one out.
Correct. When it gets down to 3, then it's each lap.
So it's basically going to be you versus VJ versus someone else who can run.
Anas is going to be there.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's going to be a battle I'd want to see.
You know, Anas is really big right now.
He weighs.
I wonder how much endurance he has.
He went 441 during Ramadan for his mile.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he weighs a lot more than me. He's towards 190.
Really bulked up.
Yeah,
And he can deadlift also. I don't know bench, but he can do like 500 pounds on deadlift.
He's going to be good at this. It depends on how like that the Murph, because he's not really a functional fitness style athlete.
Yep.
How much that takes out of him. How would you guys? Okay, so I have a couple thoughts. So this style of competition, it could very well highlight kind of a different kind of athlete where it's not really tilted toward an OCR athlete. Like really, it's just more of like a CrossFitter. But there's not a ton of high level CrossFitters in here. But there are a lot of these like hybrid athlete influencer types, you know, who can bench and who can then run like somewhat. And this could be a competition that is geared toward those type of athletes who aren't really specialized in any type of way, but are still like kind of hybrid.
How many make the championship from here?
9 in each region.
So 9 out of 21. So you just need to be in the top like 40% or so.
How does the scoring work?
This is a hunter event. We don't know.
Because
question.
If first place for everything is worth the same amount, then there's no need to spend any energy running. But if gap matters, like if you're
a winner,
like then how does that work for the run?
Right. Like, especially in the first one, right? If you're just by yourself kind of and can finish in 12th and not have to worry about it too much, do you just cruise it? But the last one, I think it's the last event, so you kind of have to put it all out there. If you guys were going against this level of competition, these of competitors, how would you do that? Devil pick the hindmost. Like, what would your strategy be for that?
I'd probably be like, knowing I'm one of the better runners against these level athletes, like I'm sure that's what you're thinking. I'd probably be like 5 to 10 meters ahead of them because like if there's a quick little surge, they might be able to just do something like sprint by you at the end. But if you just have like a little bit of a gap, then you have a little wiggle room yourself because you going 5, they're not going to go fast. Like usually when you see these things in track, they'll severely positive split these. First lap, you just don't want to be in trouble. But after that, just get a little ahead because you going 5 lat versus like 5:10 isn't going to do the same amount of damage someone who's not a good runner will.
I would run it the exact opposite of how I would run it if I were you. I would sit in the midst of it and try to not worry anyone and just be there with 2 laps to go. If I were you, if I had your skill set, I would try to PR whatever the distance is going to be, whether it's 200 or 400, especially if it's 400. I would try to run my fastest PR with slightly positive splits. I would try to get away so you're not fighting anyone at the end. Second and third are fighting to be second and third and trying to run you down. You have the highest capacity there, I would assume, and I would just run to that. You don't want VJ on the last lap. You probably don't want a Nas there with you, but I don't think they want to run laps 2, 3, and 4 at your highest output. So that's what I would do.
How would you do it, Kirk? Yeah. It's the last event.
I don't even really understand the format because I've not paid attention. So like, I don't even know if you're videotaping to get in through regions and then if everything's in person. If this is, I don't even know the layout. So
this will be in person.
Everything's in person.
Yeah.
You've just been accepted. Your application has been accepted.
We qualified through that open pipeline. So now it's like 21 athletes from East and West. And a lot of them are strength athletes because the test in their pipeline, everything was under 7 minutes for the most part. And 2 of the workouts were very favorable towards strength athletes, and then one was a mile.
Rich, one other thing for this competition, it's going to be in Texas during this really hot part of the year. That's
Gonna be
you got
hot.
to take that into consideration. So I don't know about Bracken strategy
I
blowing
think even
out
more so,
4.
I'd do that.
I think that's what I'm leaning toward. Like, why would
let
I
him
play around
disengage.
I would just make this my race and have it be no fun for anybody to watch. And just be like, deal with it in the back.
Let them
think it
decide
really
he's either going to
depends how
blow up
it's
or we're going to take
scored,
second
though.
and third.
Yeah.
So you're just
How-
going to time trial a race basically without worrying about. Okay. Oh, you know what? I wasn't sure about. You don't have to catch the next pack or the last person. It's just whoever the last 3 to cross after each. Okay, never mind. That's a different strategy. I thought
Get
it was
away.
you're playing tag and you have to get the person at the end.
Yeah.
Never
just
mind.
How many days is this event?
I think just one.
So just the one. So that's it. This is the last straw.
This is it.
There's nothing else after that. Oh, Bracken strategy for sure then.
Yeah.
Why would you play around?
You put on your alphas.
I thought
and you
maybe this
just
is a
run.
couple day event. Yeah, that's what I would do. Exactly what I would do.
I'm thinking Takumi Sen, like
Okay.
something a little bit more, because if it's a 200
You bring
looped
both.
course, yeah.
You bring a swift one and you bring a straight line runner. But the people like me are going to be trying to hang on and get it down to the final laps. You get rid of that by you cut that line right away.
Right. Like you might have to kick and chill several times where I
Yep.
don't want to do that at all.
Nope.
I just want to,
Mhm.
I'm going to kick from
It'd
the
be
first.
a painful way to do it.
Yeah.
But it should work.
Are you sure Nas got in? Because I'm looking at 21 people. I don't see him on that list.
Yeah. There was some, like we mentioned it on an episode before. They didn't like take out the competitors in the different region for the scoreboard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
once you do that, he's in.
Okay.
I don't care if he's 40 pounds heavier than he was in college. He's a sub 4 guy.
Right. Yeah.
You
If
don't
he's-
want him in the last 3 minutes of the race.
If he's sitting there on my shoulder with 200, like I'm going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
same if
you
he
don't have to
if
hold
he's
back.
Since
Being the last
college.
event, you don't have to worry about later events. So
True. I bet he was like 140 mid,
He's
right?
put on 40, 50 pounds of mostly lean weight.
Probably.
That's a
he's a
change
bowling
right
ball.
there.
He's Isaiah if he could run fast.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. How far removed from college is he? He's quite a ways, right?
2016, I think he graduated.
Yeah. So he is 7 years at least. That's a lot of weight to put on, man. That's a lot of weight to put on. I don't care how much of it's muscle.
Yeah. He's probably too skinny to begin with, but just got to
Yeah.
healthy weight.
Who
and then-
wasn't in
For
that
sure.
sport at that age?
For
at
sure.
That time?
What's the lowest you were in college
163.
compared to what you're going to compete against him at?
I was like 153 was about as light as I would be, and I'm like 175 now.
Okay. And then you guys?
163 to 169. I kind of floated in there.
Mm.
As your
And now I'm-
lightest?
Yeah, I
Big
was always
boy.
a bigger runner. Not
Them
that
big
that's
shoes.
big. And now I'm like 185 plus or minus a couple most of the time. I probably haven't checked the scale in like 2 months.
I was about 152 my All-American days. I was the biggest guy on our team. Now I'm about 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah, we're about the same.
I got
Mhm.
down to 139, 140 my freshman year.
Whoa.
That's
I was-
nasty.
It was unhealthy. And then I
Yeah.
competed 67 to 69 the rest of my time.
Okay.
Wow,
So
really?
you're in my ballpark. But
Yeah, I
just
took that
faster.
year off to try to play baseball. And that got me back to like healthy and lifting. And then I just never lost. I got up to like 77, 80. And then by the time I was running again, I was like just floating right around 167 to 69.
The old MJ strategy doesn't get enough love in track and field. Take a year off, try to play baseball, come back, win the
It
championship.
saved me. I was on the path for significant injuries. 'Cause high school, I graduated 155 and I got down to 39 in 6 months.
That's wild, dude.
It's just
that's
not
Still
crazy.
developing. That's insane.
Yeah.
Good thing you got that testosterone levels through the roof. You would have been doing some damage.
I looked funky too because I still had quads.
All quads.
And then I just had like boned
Little string
everywhere
beans.
else. Yeah, it was weird.
We have
I was
DEKAFIT
slow too.
when you were late.
I got slower.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
We got DEKAFIT SoCal this weekend.
Oh,
Jack?
yeah.
It's supposed to be loaded.
That is not an exaggeration. Yep.
Let's hear it. You got the list?
Of course I do.
Are
Women's.
you commentating?
Oh, I might reach out to Jason. I was considering doing it. But then once all this travel happened, I'm like, no, it just can't happen. And I have 2 finals that weekend for school that I thought I was going to be able to get done ahead of time, but I just can't. So,
what school are you in?
Yeah, good for you for going to school.
I'm going back to get a computer science degree because I'm sick of civil engineering.
He just wants to build a website for his rankings.
That's it.
Speaking of Jack,
yeah,
where are the results from the Palm Beach?
I didn't post those. Okay, those will be up by the time this episode airs tomorrow.
I'm on the podium, and I want everybody to know
I cranked them out literally that afternoon or Saturday, whatever the next day was. So they've been done. I thought that I posted them, but I guess I didn't because I talked about it with Mappy Davis. We did a screen share and stuff, but
he thinks you're dodging him because he outperformed you, so he wants to.
No, I give him credit. You beat me as well. So
as a squad, we did pretty well, if I recall.
Yeah, except for Bracken, who doesn't enter.
You never do it, Bracken.
I never know about him.
We announce it on the show.
Well, yeah, but where do you find it?
There's a link in my bio or on Yancey.
You gotta open up Instagram to get to that.
Okay,
I didn't do it in time.
You from now on. Yeah.
No, I'm a big boy. I'll figure it out this time. Just remind me.
Sure. All right. But yeah, the DEKAFIT Anaheim is going to be pretty awesome. Nicole Miracle is making her DEKAFIT debut, so I'm excited to see her throw down. It's not going to be easy because we've got Lauren Weeks showing up. Michelle Navarro, who made the top 12 last year, will be racing Alicia Keeker. Josh Contreras, Jessica Caviglia. She was the one who podiumed in NorCal, but she was in Heat 2. Yep. Teresa Rumfola. She'll be fun to see. Calypso Sheridan. Katie Duke, who just dropped a 19:30 in Decamile. Really talented there. And Samantha Faddis, I think she was top 5 in NorCal as well. But you've got some names there. This won't be easy. Because I just don't know. Nicole? Yeah, I don't know if she has the power necessarily on a couple of these things. Like she's definitely the best runner in the group, but there are a couple things where she just might lose a substantial amount of time, and that's going to be hard to come back from. What do you guys think?
Has she simmed? Has she prepped for this at all?
Probably not.
Right. What's her intent? Is she going there to be competitive, or is she going there to just be like, I ran a DEKA? Like,
she probably wants to qualify for Worlds, like knowing that she could probably put in a block towards the end of the year and do well. But
you can't jump into hybrid if you haven't practiced a little bit, specifically even just the machines.
Yeah.
You'll lose a second or two in and out and on every station if you've never done it. 3 seconds out the window every time, but she can run 3 seconds back each time. But if she hasn't skied, rode, and biked, then those are like 15-second gaps. So yeah, has she done it or not is my question.
I'm assuming she's probably touched some of that stuff during her ACL recovery. Like, I can't imagine that she didn't do some cross training on a machine to keep her cardio up, but I do agree that she's probably not going to be pulling a 155 on the rower when some of the other women are doing that pretty easy. And the air bike, that's going to be a real tough one.
She's also tiny.
Yeah.
She looks like she has a presence on the OCR course, and then you see her in person and she's just a small framed individual. So yeah, has she practiced? That's the only question, I think, because she's a stud.
Multi-time world champion now, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
But sometimes when you don't need, Ryan Atkins is a good example of what I'm about to kind of lay out, is that he's a tremendous athlete and can do everything on an obstacle course. But when he's doing functional movements, in the gym, it doesn't look right. He doesn't have the movement practice in place, right? He just, from lack of reps. And I don't know exactly how Nicole trains, but from what I understand, she would rather just kind of rock climb and maybe do regular runner type strength stuff and just be faster.
She spent a good amount of time in the Maraglia crew doing a lot of functional stuff.
A lot of kettlebell stuff with
back in the day.
Out there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of that is still in there. Maybe she trains differently. If you can rock climb well, you probably got pretty good mobility in your hips your arms, and probably move pretty well at her level of rock climbing. Like you can't do any of that stuff without solid mobility. And if you have solid mobility, you're probably going to move through range of motion with those strength movements pretty well. I bet you she surprises us there. She's not going to win. It'll be a fun first lap to watch, and Lauren will probably go with her. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, this will be the battle of like the first
The
sprints.
first lap.
I wonder if she'll go with Lauren.
She should.
Isn't that a wild thought?
Yeah.
Will Nicole go out with Lauren?
I guess that's
I'm
right.
more-
That's Nicole races that way too, but that's how you race OCR. That's not how you race DEKA.
I more
I love
question
it.
the decision. So the decision, like, would you be racing like a DEKAFIT this close to Hyrox World Champs? Is there a purpose for that?
I don't think it hurts.
You don't?
Doesn't
Nah.
kill your body as much. Like 30-minute race, less weight.
It's like a jumping in a mile before a 5K.
5K.
Probably going to have some
Yeah.
workout that's about a half an hour of intensity at some point. That like might as well do it against other people, so you're not just
think
soloing to the gym.
I'd be in the frame of mind of like overweight training, over stimulus training, right? I guess you're gonna have to run faster at DEKA, so that's a version of overstimulus. But like,
Mhm.
just so you want Hyrox to seem prospectively manageable, and I feel like doing a DEKAFIT and lead up would make everything seem prospectively unmanageable.
Mm.
But that's just how my brain works, and probably wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I think I agree with all of that right up until we interviewed Lauren.
It's so true.
She wasn't
So
doing
true.
anything. She wasn't doing any Hyrox work. She wasn't doing any speed work. She was just running long and doing CrossFit.
All right.
Like if she's doing a ton of WODs and stuff, this is just kind of normal. She was going to do something equivalent anyway.
Yeah.
But what I love is that Nicole's doing it because she's at that in argument for GOAT status. Like she has nothing to really gain by trying hybrid racing against these monsters, but she could look really bad. And I love when people who are really good put themselves in a situation. Yeah, if she wins it, she does gain something. But going out there and taking fifth, it doesn't help her at all. But the fact that she doesn't care and she's just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I really respect that.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably seeing the writing on the wall just from where from the competitive side. If she wants to continue to be like a professional athlete, OCR is not really going to be able to create that type of environment. Hybrid, however, seems like it could be a route where there's a little bit more attraction from sponsors and there's a little bit more prize money. She's probably just like, what if I'm okay at this?
It's a smart career move.
If
Well, and
she
what
wants-
did
she
you
Based
tell
on
wants
me?
how
to do
things
it,
are
do it.
going.
Yeah.
I
if
asked
she
you,
does it.
Rich, what's a good fitness/time trial benchmark for 3K short course? She's like, I don't know, maybe like a DEKA mile or a DEKAFIT.
For sure.
So if
Yeah.
she works on that, it only balances out her 3K game.
Yeah.
Who cares about a 3K game? Nobody else is going to be there to challenge her.
Right.
But your point is
That's
valid.
true. That's true.
Well, on the men's side, Jack, do you got the men's list?
Yeah, I was trying to find the old Spartan Games results because I know Nicole was there the first year and she did a DEKA strong. I was just trying to get like a relevant mark for that. I know Lindsay was in like the high 14s and Nicole was probably 14 to 15 as well.
I
But
thought there was a gap between those two.
That I remember.
I thought there was a
Yeah.
significant gap.
there
Like
could be
Lindsay beat her pretty bad.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
potentially.
And that's
Yeah.
Ni-
then-
Nicole's a different type of mover.
Oh, I have it. Nicole Miracle. All right, what do you guys think?
What
I
was
think you should
Lindsay's
tell
time?
us.
Lindsay Webster. All right, so Lauren back then got a 14:36, just to show you how much things have changed since then.
oh my God. Nicole must have been
Lindsay
like
Webster-
17.
Lindsay Webster 15:23.
So Nicole was
Rhea
17.
Colby was
17-12.
16:29.
Oh, never mind.
Wait, Kirk, what? 17:11.2. So you.
Whoa.
It's
Oh.
at 17-12.
I can't let this go on anymore. I got to reward excellence.
There it is. Nailed it.
That seemed like it
I'm
was
really dialed in on all the DEKA splits and stats. If you guys
Yeah.
haven't noticed, I did some quick math in my head. I
and
just
doing
came
your
into it,
homework.
Obviously.
Michael Wardian was 21:27.
He was extremely valuable at the Spartan
Mhm.
Games. It's just great that he was there.
Yeah.
I respect him.
Respect. Nothing but respect on this show, this episode.
I'm being
Oh.
genuine. I respect Wardian.
Oh, well, he's doing for sure. But at Spartan Games, that was tough.
Yeah. As for who's actually in the race, the big names we already mentioned. John Clark earlier, gave him a shout out. He's not doing age group; he's doing the elite. So that'll be cool. Glenn Race, Mark Polzin, who both of them have been in the I think they're high 31s. So that'll be good to see them. John Howard, Cole Schwartz. Let's see how much of a carnival athlete he is, or if he can go down.
Whoa! He's going to be on a start line.
That's why I was
He's gonna
mad
have
that I'm
a
not
chip
going
on
there
his
because I
And
want to
other
beat
people
him.
are preparing for the same event that he's preparing for.
Yeah.
He was
and
just
then
fueling it.
the real battle, VJ versus Rylan. That's gonna be fun to see.
So that's pretty loaded up too. And VJ's is kind of in a similar spot to Nicole. He has a little bit has dipped his toes in this and has shown that he can do well in hybrid stuff.
Mhm.
It's like he's the guy for 3K, but he's also like, let's see about this Deka thing as well.
His
Your
difference
writing's
is
on the
he
wall.
moves in whatever capacity you put him into. And you've talked about that too. He adapts to that movement. Nicole looked a little funky doing some of her Spartan Games movements. VJ, at worst, looks like the build of a runner moving like
Mhm.
a CrossFitter oftentimes. He knows how to move. His frame doesn't always make sense for why he can do that.
Totally.
So he picks up these things very quickly.
Kirk, what'd you have?
I forget.
Not important.
It was profound, obviously.
Clearly.
You were saying VJ with the 3K.
Oh yeah, well it's the same thing. Writing's on the wall with same thing that maybe Nicole's seeing. I think. Well, you would know Rich obviously because you guys are bed buddies, but but it makes sense from a career standpoint. He's one who's been in the career since the beginning, so of course you're going to focus on the shorter hybrid style, absolutely. And with his goal to go get into Hyrox next year, he's been very open about that with us when I chatted with him. You gotta grease the groove. Might as well start now.
I would be very impressed if Nicole was on the podium for this race.
Yeah.
I'd be
Let's say-
extremely impressed.
So I'm assuming Spartan Games, they were, a minute, maybe 30 seconds slower than what they really probably could have done. It was long weekend and stuff. So let's give her like a 16:30. She'll probably run 19 to 18:30 for her compromise 5K. So you're putting her in like the 34 to 35 range, probably closer to 35. I still think
36.
Lauren's got her number, and
Teresa's going to be good.
So a couple others.
Calypso could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll
would.
tune in
Teresa.
to watch for that very reason. For her being there will
Mhm.
have me going out of my way to watch, and that's
Yep.
profound because not much does that to me these days. So I'll
Yeah.
watch. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah.
This conversation kind of reminded me of two idiotic statements that were made about OCR athletes in the history, both that I witnessed. First was Ryan Kent came out and made a splash in his first two races, but we weren't totally sure about him. And then he came out and he raced someone for the first time and he beat Yatsko. And we're like, oh my goodness. And then down in SoCal, Matt Novakovic took it to him on the back half of a course and finished and walked up to me and said, that kid is done. He'll never be anything in the sport. He just doesn't have it. And I just looked at him and thought, that is bold to say after one race where the guy like encountered vert for the first time. Matt broke him up like a 30% incline or something.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be a terrible take long term. And the second one was after VJ was really hyped up by Joe DI back in the day. This kid's going to be the future of the sport, and we're signing him to the pro team before he had a lot of results to his name, but he was getting ahead of it. And Joe knew, and we were all kind of like, I don't like the idea of this 17, 18-year-old kid like getting what we're getting. And he really struggled in Seattle. And afterwards, someone goes, that hype train just not happening. He's just not
like
going to be
8th
that
place
Yeah.
that year.
He was supposed to win it. He was hyped up that like Joe's like, this is going to be his year. He's going to win the series. And he took 8th. And we're just like, it's not going to happen. And that person was me. I said that. I said VJ was never going to pan out in OCR. He just didn't have that gritty. And now he's just like, he's all world, as we all know. But so Matt Novakovic and I made two of the worst predictions about the current sport of OCR way back then. We were just so wrong. So VJ, I apologize. And Kent, I don't apologize on behalf of Novakovic, because we're just going to keep adding chips to your shoulder so you can come out and win a world title here.
Keep it going. All right, we're at our time limit. What do we got in the running public this week?
We did a training Tuesday about so you want to race it all, what the best approach is philosophically to
Nice.
do everything, which we don't condone, but most of the people do it.
People are going to
So
try it.
that's it. Now we got an interview over the pond with the UK race director later this week. kind of looking at the other side of racing, like the logistical side. So that's our next one.
Once the racing career is over, we got to do something, right? You got to start learning.
Start a podcast.
Start a race series.
Let's just start a whole race series. We already did that. We just got to get it rolling.
Everything we've ever complained about, we're going to find out that there's a reason why they all happen as soon as we try to start our own.
Let's just turn into the bad guy.
I don't think we complained much this episode. I think this was a very positive show.
Nah, probably not.
Rich, what do you have?
I was on PTO, so got nothing.
Who paid you?
Right. There's no such thing as PTO.
The Easton Hall of Fame.
When you pay yourself. Yeah, I got paid with sheet cake and a plaque, which was great. I got a little pin too. And I was very excited for it.
Did your wife give you a bit of an allowance or something?
It's like, hey, I'm going to take off. So hook me up a little this and that. Reasonable prices in Easton. We're good to go. All right. That'll do it for us. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Hold on.